Well, we're going to start the podcast in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Xvox, Voice of the Xbox Community. This is episode 97, and this is pre-E3 week. We're right there. We're on the cusp. E3 starts on Sunday with Bethesda, so we had to have a huge group of people to come in. Even the Flash himself, Barry Allen, is on the show. He went back in time to tell us what E3 was all about. And you said it was VR, right? VR? No? All right. Anyway, let's introduce.
Please say something.
It was Connectimals 3.
I'm down. I'm down. You sold me. Connectimals 3. What about Viva Pinata? Can you confirm or deny it?
It was Pinata Viva.
Pinata Viva. Oh, okay.
Quite a subversion.
I'm down with that. But that.
I may have gone to reverse E3. I'm not sure.
Okay. You know, hey, reverse E3 is always a good E3. We also have Steve Rules on the show this week. Welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Dustin. I'm very glad to be here as usual. Big week of news, big week ahead. It's all happening.
We have the wonderful Tim Dog.
What's up, guys? E3. 4 more days.
I thought we discussed it was wondrous, right?
The wondrous?
The
wondrous. The fantastical. Wondrous.
I like wondrous.
Is the Disney castle going to be at E3 now? I mean, perspective shifting and all.
We also have Michael on the show this week. Thanks for coming back on, Michael. You survived another week. Here's your rose.
You are the weakest link.
And you've lost your rose. Please leave, sir. All right. We also have Jason on the show this week.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Jay?
And the golden lisp himself.
Hey.
Vern. And before we start the show, how are you doing, Vern?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I really appreciate it every time you ask me. So
I'm worried.
I hope to hear it every week.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's a segment. Now, I threw it out at the beginning this time, but you never know when it's coming. Just come in the middle of the show sometimes. Just like, let's take a
I have
pause.
something prepared every time.
Yeah.
Keep on my feet.
I think we should have a moment of silence, though, because Dusty Rhodes has passed away. I don't know if everyone saw that.
Oh, wow.
Death Road, the American Dream.
Passed away at 69 years old.
So sad.
Heart attack?
Best age.
So sad.
And he passed away from the American Dream, man.
One of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time.
R.I.P. Christopher Lee.
Sauron died. So.
I also want to say E3 already started, in my opinion, today with the Oculus Rift show. So,
Well, if you go to the
Phil Spencer
E3,
gets on stage.
if you go to the E3 Expo site, they don't include Oculus Rift as part of their presentation.
they should have. They should have.
They actually count Bethesda as the first day of the show. Well, first briefing for the show. See, you gotta understand, Oculus was wearing boxers and not doing briefs. No, maybe bad joke.
The Oculus CEO saw a shadow.
It was a pretty weak conference, honestly. You can tell that was the first thing they've ever done. They were really green and nervous and everything. So.
Can I get a price? Price check?
No price.
Price check?
No price.
It's better than all
Q1
the-
2016. Hey, did I tell you Q1 2016? And by the end of the conference, I don't know if I've said it yet, but Q1 2016.
Yeah.
It was, you know what, the biggest news, I guess, for today, which I don't think anybody was expecting, is Phil Spencer showed up at the Oculus Rift event. Like, he was there. He walked out on stage and was like, hey, Steve, look at this picture that they just put up. You see that? You see that controller right there? Can you guess what controller that is? It has those
Xbox
rounded
One
bumpers. It has the USB port right where you know it is. And everybody was like,
Like
what
a
kind of
Dreamcast?
controller is that? Yes, it was the Dreamcast controller. They had the little MU. What was the memory
It's called
card?
the VMU. Thank
The
you.
VMU on the. You could play little games on it in virtual reality. It's gonna be amazing.
Take care of your little what they call them.
Chochos.
Nothing.
Chocobos.
Chobos, right? Chobos, right?
Pikachu.
That's Chow.
Chows.
Yeah,
It is Chows. You're right. Yeah.
It was Digimon.
Pretty much. Yeah. Tamagotchi.
But yes, they're bringing that to the Oculus Rift. So the Xbox One controller and a dongle are going to come with every
Wireless.
single Oculus Rift sold. So
Yes.
Can
You're
there
gonna-
be a better name than dongle? Can they not
Nope.
come up with something better to call it?
because
That's the best
dongle is the English term for what it is. I mean, they could go on with a different language. What's the Spanish word for dongle?
Dongula.
There you go. It's going to be the
That's
dongle.
it.
It's
That's it.
the
Dongolo?
dongola obligata is that they're going to ship that with every.
Mexico.
They're going to ship with that with every Oculus Rift a Dula Obligata, and it's why alligators are so unhappy.
Ornery.
Yeah. So they're shipping that, and you're also going to be able to have an Oculus Rift on and sit in a virtual theater and play your Xbox One games. So Japanese people that live in little closets can feel not claustrophobic and wear a VR headset.
Yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, it was kind of cool seeing Phil Spencer just come out of nowhere and being on this conference. No one expected it. So when
Yeah.
he came out, it was like,
It's like Windows
what the
10
hell?
bitches.
Oh my god! But then it came out, and it was just like, oh well, they're putting in the controller, which makes sense. I mean, there's no reason for them to build a new controller since they're already building new inputs. What do they call them?
They have a
Touch.
proprietary motion
Touch.
controller.
Yeah.
The touch, yeah, and those look pretty cool, but they need a traditional controller. So I assume Microsoft kind of came to bat for that and was like, hey, we'll probably give you a deal on these controllers as long as you commit to Windows 10. I don't know if maybe that was their agreement, or if it's more than that. It could be more than that, because a video later on today with Kudo, at the very end of it, Major Nelson asked if there was going to be more from Oculus Rift and HoloLens. Yeah, and Kudo said we probably would see more. So I don't know if that means we're going to see more announcements for Oculus. I can't imagine what we would see. I mean, I don't think it's going to work on Xbox One. That would be pretty crazy. I can't imagine. Yeah. So, but pretty interesting. I mean, and the theater room stuff, at first I thought, well, that makes absolutely no sense. But then you figure, I think in the first development kits, they had theater room apps for the thing already. So it's probably as simple as just streaming in whatever Microsoft would be streaming in through Windows 10 anyway. So I can't imagine it's that much of a hassle for them to add it to it. So it's probably just more like a nice feature than it is a game changer. So.
This is the part where I saw a bunch of potential where everyone else seemed to see stupidity. But I thought it was potentially pretty cool, the virtual thing, because one, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where this actually makes sense. Sitting in your living room, wife wants to watch TV, you want to play games.
And you want to ignore
Play
as
your
much as
Xbox.
possible.
Yeah.
You just
Or
want
someone
to.
else
to,
is using the TV.
Yeah, it's similar
Or-
to like the Wii U gamepad or
Yeah.
the Vita.
I think this
Um,
would be extremely useful for people on ships and submarines where they're stuck in a close quarters all day. Being able to put yourself in a large room. You know what I mean? Not being stuck in a tight quarter that you're in for 6 months out of a year is pretty nice.
They have a
Being able to
console
play
for
games
people like
you're in
that.
your
It's
living
called the
room.
Xbox 360. Can we move on from that? Maybe. No.
No, that's not the point of what I'm saying. The
I know,
point-
but you just mentioned submarines and Xbox. So
I know,
the joke
I know.
had to come up.
But it makes sense because I mean, if you ever been on a naval ship, those guys they have consoles, they got PCs. I mean, all they need is an Oculus and they're good to go.
Yeah.
But same stuff with traveling. You want to lay on your bed, just have a living room experience. I mean, it's there. It's not supposed to be. I think everyone they got really tied up with the ladies sitting in the living room playing on our living room TV with a virtual living room. But there's a lot more applications than just sitting in your living room.
And did they try to make a woman driver joke?
No.
I don't remember that. They may have, but I don't remember.
She was wearing the Oculus Rift, looking everywhere except for the road on the screen, and crashes into the
Oh,
wall.
yeah.
That's true.
Just throwing it out there. I mean, it's kind of like, out of all the B-roll footage you could have
That's true.
filmed,
Well, to be
you,
fair,
you lead with that.
be
That's what you record.
to be fair, Dusty, she wasn't on her cell phone.
Yeah, she wasn't.
So-
She was.
So
I guess that makes it okay. But I when I saw that video, and when he was like, "Oh, y'all laughed because she crashed," it was just so forced, and like it's like Phil Spencer didn't know that was the footage they were gonna use.
yeah.
Like he was just like, "What the fuck was
Well,
that?"
he
Like-
looked like he was reading the script for the first time. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone did. I think they just weren't very prepared for that show.
I
Altogether.
honestly don't think he knew that video was going to be there. I think he was just like, dude, the teleprompter's there. Just walk out there and be like, yeah, controllers. And then we're going to show the Oculus Rift. And then this lady's going to slam into the wall because she's looking around. That would have never
Maybe
came
he
up.
wasn't supposed to be there at all.
Yeah, it was kind of a goofy thing to lead with, though. I feel like they should have shown a theater first, maybe showing a movie, and then done the Microsoft thing.
They couldn't
because-
afford the rights
yeah.
to show a movie. See,
Probably, yeah. They
they're
can make
only
their
owned
own
by
movie.
Facebook.
Yeah, well, when they buy Silent Hills, they'll have the rights to the
That's
Silent
true.
Hill
That's
movies,
true.
That is
so they
true.
can play that.
You know what's something else I noticed about this whole thing that a lot of people are getting confused by with this Oculus Rift thing? You're not going to need a $1,000 computer to stream Xbox One games. A lot of people seem to be thinking this. You just need a Windows 10 tablet. I mean, I have a $300 tablet. I can stream 1080p games from Steam at like an ungodly high bit rate because of my router. You don't need an insane computer to do this kind of streaming.
You still
So-
need a computer that's good enough to run the Oculus in the first place.
No, but running a
No.
tiny 3D
Yeah, you
room
have to.
that projects a screen at the far end really doesn't take much processing power.
Because
And the Oculus
people
Rift will be
are-
fine. Now, if it's a big 3D environment, I completely agree with you, Michael. But not that. Not that.
I think
Not
people
like
are
this.
getting. I
Not
think
like
people are getting way too. They're reading way too much into the video that they saw today.
What about the
Basically-
woman driver's part? Or
Yeah, that's just listen. First of all, that wasn't Microsoft doing that. That was run by Oculus. Now,
Oh, I know.
basically, Phil was there. There's a lot more to this than just that theater mode. I mean, this is a deal that it's a partnership basically. It could be something that ties you in, that you could buy a game on the Xbox storefront from Oculus. You know, people are just like thinking because of that video, they're trying to figure this all out. Basically, I talked to Aaron a little bit about this, and you know, basically, this is all on Windows 10. So it's the same architecture from Xbox One to PC. Everything is the same streamline. So there's a lot of it could grow basically. It's open to developers, whereas Morpheus is basically a closed solution. Like it's their thing. So many people, how this is all going to go. I think that people are getting way too ahead of themselves trying to figure this out. I don't think that anybody really understand or is going to understand until it starts to get further down the line. But basically, Phil was there because it's just another device that you can stream to, and that is the Oculus. But you're going to be able to basically include the Xbox. Now, as Mike was saying, in my opinion, you're going to have a PC that has to run this. Okay, the PC is going to have to be on. I don't think that you're going to have an Oculus connect to your Xbox.
No.
But we'll get all those details. I just think that it was a smart move by Phil, in my opinion, because he does. Sony's eggs are all in the VR basket. He's basically having this as an option, and he's also having AR as an option, which is going to be their thing. He just put Xbox into the talk, basically, where they weren't even in the VR talk. So there's really minimal, risk here, and it's very high reward, in my opinion. So
No,
I
but
think it's a good business
There's
deal.
other things you could look at it though. Like let's say if Microsoft has said they've worked on VR. We know they have a headset. They've admitted to having a headset. They haven't shown anything off, but it could be them going, "Hey, let's not produce a headset, but let's do a partnership with Oculus. We can license them our patents, and that way they don't have to jump through any hoops, and they can get through some legal issues, and we can both
It's a
win."
Agreed.
Like,
It's a big partnership. It's
we
a big
don't, and
partnership.
you know, that's totally fucking
It's-
guessing. Like I
It's a smart idea because I mean they're being really intelligent because you figure with augmented reality they're not saying, hey, let's just make this about games. They're making it about other stuff as well. So the risk isn't super high there because the product's desirable in other spaces. And then with virtual reality, you look at Oculus, you look at Valve, and also Sony, and they're taking a really high risk because we don't know if VR is going to take off. Microsoft doesn't have to worry about that. They just say, "Oh, I'm going to partner with Oculus. I'm going to get my name in the game. If it takes off, maybe I'll strengthen that partnership, or maybe create my own headset."
and like
you know?
they said Windows 10 is going to natively support Oculus.
Exactly, it's
So
more Windows 10
Right.
development
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the big thing. It's a Windows 10
adoption.
platform, and
Yeah.
it's across the board. So you could even think about this. You could even possibly use Kinect involved with this, because they're all on the same platform.
This could be
I don't
really
know if
strange.
that's
They're all-
possible.
Yeah, their own
But-
device. Yeah.
No,
Well,
the
but
thing
I'm
is
saying
they've
that-
cut off like selling Connects for PC.
I agree
Like,
but I'm just saying that being that it's all a part of the same platform, the same code, there's going to be opportunities here. Where maybe obviously I'm not a developer, I can't answer these questions, but like Vern said, it's all Windows 10. It's an open platform. A developer can build anything that they want, and they can include the Xbox One now. Now, Xbox involvement is basically, Phil's going to be about games. This whole thing was just basically, in my opinion, or what they showed, is because it's now another device that you can stream your game to. You could also stream it to your Surface Pro 3, but that's not what this is all about. This is a much bigger deal. Like I said, it can involve the store at Xbox, meaning you can buy a game for Oculus on the storefront. So people don't know. You got to wait until this. Starts to go on and see how it actually develops.
I'm pretty curious how that's going to work actually with the storefront stuff because they have their own separate storefront for the Oculus, which they showed in the conference today.
Maybe they
So
imported
I wonder,
it now.
yeah, I wonder how that integrates. I assume it will in some way,
And
But that's the thing.
by the
Go
way,
on.
about the Kinect on PC, the reason they stopped producing that is because it didn't make sense to produce both an Xbox One and a PC Kinect when all it took was an adapter. Why are you going to continue sitting there building packaging and all
That's
that
true.
when it's the same exact
True.
device?
No, but
Yeah.
it still limits it because the Xbox
Uh-huh.
now you
No.
have to buy the $150 Connect plus the $50 adapter, and then you put it
By
on
the
your
way-
PC. No, let me finish. You put it on the PC, and then you have to hope that a single dev out of the 100,000 decides to develop for it with the Oculus in mind. Like I think that's more far-fetched, and it's not going to happen. You're
Well,
not
and
going to
they-
see it. You're
They
going to
pretty
see a
much
couple
showed you're
tech
not going to
demos.
need it. They
Yeah.
pretty much
But-
showed you're not going to need it because doesn't the Oculus Rift have its own little camera that sits on the side that works with the controllers and all that stuff? So
Vive does.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
don't know if
Uh,
Oculus does.
That
They have something
As
that sits on
far
the
as-
side that goes invisible, Vern. It went invisible, supposedly.
that-
It was just a big fucking stand that stood like a foot
it wasn't
fucking
invisible
tall,
at all.
and like a big round fucking cylinder on top of it. But it just blends in and disappears. It's such. They were trying to like Apple it like so hard. They were like, it just disappears. It's like, no, it doesn't.
No,
I
it's
fucking
giant.
see it.
It's black.
It's fucking
not-
huge. Like it's as big as that fucking monitor. I'm not trying to call you out on shit, but
I was laughing
that
too.
doesn't disappear. Like I would have to find a fucking space for that on my desk right now. Like that, it's not small. It's not because at first when they said that, I was like, oh, does it just hook up behind the computer? Like, is it just like this weird thing? No, it's literally a big fucking stand on your computer desk. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, but don't say it disappears because it's just dumb. It was, but I regress.
See, what I took from this event was that this is exactly what Microsoft should have been doing, and they completely neglected in the latter years. They completely isolated. I'm not so bothered about PC gamers, but they did just completely, after Games for Windows Live fell apart, they completely neglected that thing. And I think that a lot of their success was built on the fact that they were pro PC. There were a lot of games a lot of developers that they sort of tempted over from the PC side, and now we can see that Phil's at this Oculus conference. He's going to be at the PC conference. You know, I mean, they've always been sort of close to Epic. You know, I think this is what Xbox should be doing. You know, it should be more. You know, they don't have to put everything on PC, but I think that there's a certain spread that I think was always very good for them that they just seem to completely miss. Possibly because their Kinect games were never going to work on PC because PC didn't really do Kinect. But I think this is definitely an encouraging sign for how they're going to run things. I think there could be this sort of openness could get some cool partnerships that they've sort of perhaps not gotten so much.
I think it's pretty easy for them to justify having their own PC studios, considering the amount of people. Now, to be fair, PC sales do not match console sales, but they do to a certain amount, and you don't need as many studios as you do Xbox studios. I think they can afford to have at least 2 or 3 PC studios that are.
I think it's all about what they're going to make. I mean, if they're going to make RTSs, for example, like stuff that is just much better on PC, then that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the difference between PC and consoles is that console sales are generally quite front loaded, whereas PC sales are generally there's a long tail. So it's kind of different. And I think for Microsoft, that's that sort of difference in sales could actually.
When you say long tail, do you mean the Steam bargain bin after the first 3 months the game's out?
It's all sales. It's all sales. I mean, look at Alan Wake.
At $3 a copy. I think PC games have shown lately, not Alan Wake, because Alan Wake was still too early, but like new PC games, it's very hard to be a developer because you're going to end up on the Steam PC still. And you're going to make or the $5 Humble Bundle, and you get 20 games.
Yeah, but they're not boxing copies to make those sales. You got to remember that.
And to be fair, every one of those sales, the dev gets way more than he would on a retail.
Not on Steam.
And
Steam makes a big cut.
Yeah, but
they make
more
exactly
than they would make at retail.
No, they get about the same cut as a retailer gets.
But even so, we've known from what past developers have said, they made more. Like a developer said before, they've made more money on a sale, 2 to 3 times as much money as they in one day than they did in opening week sales of their game.
Yeah, and it also builds hype for their next game a lot of the time. So.
Yep. It usually coincides with the announcement of a new game. Like Fallout 4 was announced, Fallout 3 is on sale, so on and so forth.
And didn't they say sales went up like ridiculously?
3,000%.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Yeah,
I think.
So.
Which is crazy. Who the hell doesn't own Fallout?
The thing is that
I didn't buy it until last year.
Really?
On PC. Yeah, because I got a gaming computer, so I was like, well, heck yeah, I'm gonna play it with mods, run around naked with lasers and kill mutants.
Did you turn on the grass mod where it just turns the whole world green and has trees and grass?
Yes, I did.
It's beautiful, ain't it? So much better than the bland world of Fallout 3.
I'm doing a little mini Let's Play in Fallout 3 right now, and I couldn't get my capture software to work on the PC version because I have Windows 10 Preview installed, and it's got the game DVR thing, and it works really well. But for some reason, it just wouldn't work with Fallout 3, so I had to play it on the 360, and was like, ugh. Like, I'm not a graphics snob, but good lord.
Yeah, I played Fallout 3 on
mods,
PC.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah, it helps. It really does help. But I mean, it didn't look awful, like too bad. But like, it hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
The console version.
No, absolutely not.
But all right, let's get back to Oculus Rift. Does anybody care? Is anybody picking it up now? Have you been convinced that this is the future?
I'm not convinced, but I got more interested when Insomniac came out, when Ted Price came out and said they were making an exclusive for the device. So
I got interested when I saw all the games running at about 10 frames per second. I thought that was amazing, and it's the future of VR. It's what I wanted. Motion sickness is going to be better than ever.
I like Insomniac, so I'm interested. But if this thing is expensive, I'm not gonna buy it.
It's gonna be.
No, that's a good question.
It's gonna be. You got to run a 980 to run it.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the specs on it?
970. Well, that's recommended.
R9 290 can handle it, right?
Come on.
It's
You
only
need-
a
you need-
$600
You should go
card.
SLI if you should have 2 cards. I mean, it's a
Get a
lot.
980 Ti. Right, those are $350.
How
I mean,
well, an R9 T90 run, a 290 running? I think I read that. That would.
I would
Well,
go SLI.
everything
you gotta
will run
have
it.
power for this.
The
You gotta
question
have
is
power.
what games you'll run with it.
especially-
Yeah.
You just gotta have
Right,
two
it's-
Titan X's.
Especially
Well,
with
that's
Nvidia's new technology, where they're rendering one side with each individual GPU, and it just makes SLI make sense. Go ahead, Vern. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just I'm wondering because they gave like a recommended specs. Does that mean that the developers that are creating for this device treat it like it's not an open system? Like, do they just develop for those specific specs? That way, anyone who
Probably,
buys
yes.
this thing can run it. Because if
At
that's the case, well then you're set at least until the
It's-
next version.
Because of how the hardware works, like you want a consistent frame rate at a high
Right.
field of view and at a high resolution. You need to have something powerful enough to make sure that it's consistent and that it's
Mhm.
constant. So that's why it's not a very low spec piece of hardware, and that makes sense. Everything that's first generation of this quality and this caliber has to be expensive and high powered in order for
So-
it to be good.
So you're telling me the next Assassin's Creed will ruin this?
I don't think that they'll put Assassin's Creed on it
Yeah,
at
probably
the end
not.
of the day.
No, I'm
But,
just saying, a game like Assassin's Creed that's just
How-
coded awfully on PC, no matter what fucking graphics card you have, will just look like shit. No matter what you use it on, because they always
Yeah.
do.
Well, if
I'm
it looks like
wondering-
shit, it looks like shit.
No,
I'm
no, I
wondering
just meant
how,
frame rate wise. I mean, it's all game dependent. Like a 980 Ti coming out next year, you're going to be safe because that's going to be fucking just as powerful as a Titan X. We all know that. Buy the 980, it's $350. That's the way to go. But that's a lot of money for anybody after they just bought a $400 Oculus Rift, which I'm guessing is going to be about the price range.
I wonder how long
What's a
it'll
CPU
be before
processor?
how long before another version comes out.
i5, something
know?
or other.
the latest i5.
And will that
it's
new
a-
version have new, requirements? And like how, yeah.
They'll probably reduce the requirements a
Yeah.
little bit.
So
But not
maybe
too
you get
much.
3 or 4 years out of this device.
Well, you
Tops.
figure a 980 can support 4K
why
gaming,
you gotta
one
get
card
a-
by itself. So I would think the next 4K Oculus Rift might just run on a
That's
980.
down the line. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, even that's kind of far fetched. You'll probably need whatever the 1080 or whatever Nvidia decides to call their next round of cards to run something like that.
The only issue you're gonna have is if they stop deciding to support older headsets, like how Apple does with iPhones and stuff like that. That's the only issue I could see happening. It depends on how quickly they iterate and what they decide to drop off. Like, if in 10 years they stop supporting this current 2016 kit, that'd be fine. But if in 3 years they stop, that might hurt their reputation just a little
Right.
Why would they stop though? I don't get why they
Because
would
they go on
give
to a
up.
different iteration.
No,
They're
but
bigger.
it's the thing is, it's just that would be like saying we're going to stop supporting monitors at 1024 by 768 because that's all this is. It's a fucking monitor. It's not like it's a graphics card or it's
I
not
think
the
what they'll-
CPU. It
I
is
know,
literally
but
just the monitor. So as
what-
long as you have an updated card, like you should always be able to pump
Well,
that
what they
1080p
could do-
image
So
So
into
do
your
they change
Oculus
the
Rift.
specs? And do the people who had the previous specs suddenly they can't use it anymore?
No, but that's like saying with people with 4K monitors, can they not play 1080p games?
No, it's not, because there's a recommended system specs for this device. You don't have a recommended specs for a monitor.
Well, what I see them doing is just like someone just said about Apple. When the new version comes out, this version will become the cheaper version.
Eventually,
not-
eventually it falls through and goes
Yeah.
away.
Eventually it'll fall through, but I don't see that happening on the second iteration. I would see,
It's going to take more time for it to happen.
yeah, I could see
Well,
like the
that's why
third
they set it
iteration,
high.
they drop support for the first, and then you got constantly two. Just like Apple does with iPhones. The cheaper iPhone is the older generation. That's their cheap phone. You know
Although
what I'm saying?
I'd imagine they'd iterate it once every
Yeah.
2 or 3
I
years.
just don't see
No-
why
nowhere
it
near
would
as
drop.
fast
Like
as an iPhone.
it's not up to
No,
the
no, no.
Oculus Rift guys to say,
I-
"Hey, this is out of spec." It's up to game developers to support it.
I totally agree with you. I'm just saying that people will worry about that regardless because the potential is there
$400
as
for this thing.
it exists in technology.
No, I agree, but
Will it,
this
will it
isn't.
happen? No, it probably won't.
This isn't
but
a
could it
platform.
happen?
Like it's
Maybe.
not a platform. Yes, it is a platform in a sense, but it's not a platform.
It's not an
Windows
isolated
is a platform. Windows is running Oculus Rift. Windows will always be there.
We're
That's
not
the
disagreeing
platform.
with you.
No. No, but you're
What's
saying
the
there's an
platform on a
expiration
platform?
date. Oculus Rift will always work as long as it's on Windows.
Oh yeah, the Oculus Rift will work. I'm just wondering if at some point they upgrade the system specs you need
I
to
don't
use the
think
thing,
so.
or if that goes along with the next iteration.
But what does that mean? Upgrade the
that'd be up to
system
developers.
specs to use the thing? Like,
no, hold
why
on,
would
It
hold
might
on.
be like
because
a PC can't
that's a
run
game
something.
thing.
No. Like they give a new recommendation for what it should be and what developers should target.
No,
But
I
that
think
would
it's just like
be-
PC now.
No,
It's
but
just
then
gonna
that
be the
would
same
that would
I get
depend
what
on your
Dusty's-
GPU and your CPU. It would have nothing to do with the fucking display you're putting on your
No.
head.
Dusty's right. It would be like if you
No.
sold someone a 1080p monitor and then the 4K monitor came out, and you're saying that the 1080p monitor needs to change your recommendations. It doesn't. I mean, the hardware will run on the 1080p monitor. The hardware is the only
Windows
thing.
will
I'm just
downscale the
saying that
image.
maybe Facebook or Oculus Rift uses the iteration to then upgrade the system specs. I'm not saying that that's like
No, but like it'd be, hey, the 4K version Oculus Rift's going to have these system specs, but this one's still going to run because your games are still going to run at
Right.
1080p, and your CPU and GPU can handle it and push it to it, and you're still getting the VR information from the camera.
But then
this
let's
thing's
say the
never gonna
developers.
this thing's never gonna go out of
Yeah,
date as long as
but-
you're upgrading your CPU and GPU.
Yeah, but
I-
let's say the developers
Alright.
start targeting something that had for higher specs. So you need like much better than what was on the
But
box
that's gonna
originally
affect your
for the
CPU and
Oculus
GPU.
Rift. I know, but on the Oculus Rift box it says these are your specs you need to play the games that are going to come out for this device, all right? So, what if developers start targeting higher specs? Well then
You
that
would get a
box
new
is then-
CPU and GPU. Why does that mess with the resolution at all?
because then what you have on that box is incorrect.
No, it's
no, the
not.
way I see this, hold on. The way I see this happening is it's going to happen at launch of this device. You're going to have the minimum specs. You're going to have the recommended specs, and developers are they're going to build for the minimum, and they're going to build up to the recommended. And the same thing's going to happen with the next iteration.
Right.
The
So what
minimum-
I'm saying
No,
is
but
they
you're
probably
saying
won't.
there's
I'm-
one
I
spec
get
for
what-
all
get
games,
what
and that's
Vern is
bullshit.
saying.
There's not one spec for all games. You're going to have
For
many
Oculus.
specs.
It is Oculus though. This is
No,
different.
because it's not Oculus where,
No.
well, there's one spec for Oculus, and if you don't build up to this spec, it's not going to work. People
Well,
that
this-
have older i5s can still use Oculus today. People that have dev kits have already used older hardware that's not really supported by this 980 fucking recommendation.
I think you just don't understand the point I'm trying to make. That's the issue here.
No, I just don't
Okay.
agree with
Here's
your
what I-
point.
here's what I'm-
It's
here's what I'm trying to
$1,500.
say.
It's
For the
not.
record, the CEO says it's $1,500. Just to add that in, you guys can go on. But the CEO says for $1,500 you get an Oculus Rift case, like the whole deal with the set, with the glasses, or the VR.
with the computer to run it.
yes,
Yeah.
1,500. So, that's where you're at.
Extrapolate from there.
And to be fair,
Everyone,
this
everyone just buy
argument.
Morpheus.
To be fair, this argument doesn't matter because
Because Morpheus is shit.
what really matters at the end of the day is if this version of the hardware sells really well, they're going to support that user base.
Exactly.
If this version of the hardware doesn't sell very well, and
Which-
the next one comes out, then they're not going to support it as much.
Which means developers can't target past those recommended specs if they're going to be selling that version for a certain period of time. You see? That's what
Well,
my point was.
That's not completely true because they could develop, like I said, with minimum recommended, they could develop a version that will run on the old one, but also a version that will run at twice resolution or
That could be a possibility too. Yeah.
higher textures, more
Uh-huh.
effects.
But
I
they'll
can
at
see
least,
that.
they'll at least
I
have to
agree
develop
with
the game to hit a certain spec at
Yeah,
the low end.
I agree.
Yeah.
There will be certain games that will only work on the highest, but I
Right.
don't see a lot of them. I could see like maybe one or two. Most
just-
of them are going to be like, we want to support the overall majority so we can sell the damn game.
Right, right. So they're going to treat it kind of like Blizzard does with their fan base, should I say?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, over time,
Lowest
like
common
you're
denominator.
both. To be clear, both you and Dusty are right, just for different reasons.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. We were just coming from different angles. Now the other question is, does Valve's device do something completely different? I could see Valve being on the other end where they keep pushing those upgrades and pushing,
Yeah.
Well, I think
fans,
because you're going to have Valve, you're going to have Oculus, and you're going to have all these third parties that nobody's going to develop specifically. Like Oculus Rift's the only platform. It's the one you're going to develop games for Windows, and Windows will support VR, which will
Right.
support a million different VR devices, which does not have to be Oculus. So it like your old Oculus is going to work, the new Oculus will work, because it's all literally for the CPU and GPU. It's just like, okay, what do we need to push to the Oculus Rift? Oh, we're pushing a 1080p image, no problem, as long as we can keep the information up. And I think Windows is going to position itself to do that. I mean, even though they're making a partnership, I don't think they're going to like not help out Steam with their HTC, whatever they're calling their headgear.
And to be fair, as far as the hardware and what they're gonna look at to hit, I think it's going to be based on what their own surveys of what most hardware out there is, and what segment of the hardware buys the most games, and what do they have, and so on and so forth. And I think the same thing's going to happen at Facebook. Well, Oculus Rift, because they're working with Microsoft. Microsoft has that data on what people are using. Steam has the data on what people are using. I think overall you're just going to end up seeing them go very close on the recommended minimums, because they both know, who's the general population and what do they own. Like, I could see that the people that spend the largest population of people that spend the most money on games probably have something like from a 700 series, 700 to 800. I don't see them having too many 980s and stuff like that. I could see that's where that's going to be the sweet spot. And then they'll have the tech demos, like, look what we can do with the 980 recommended specs, just to show off the tech and be like, buy it now,
All right, well, I guess we should move off of Oculus Rift. We've been talking about it for a while. I think everybody's said their piece.
I think one last little thing to mention is how they're bundling an Xbox controller with every Oculus brand association.
Yeah,
People get more used to seeing the Xbox logo. Maybe they pick up a console. Maybe they don't. They probably don't, but maybe.
They'll have the big ass Xbox controller on their desk.
You're putting the controller in everyone's hands. I agree 100%.
Further cementing the quality status of the Xbox controller.
All right, stop. We got to talk. Zorbs, you got a 560 Ti. I understand that you don't think you're going to run Oculus, but I'm going to tell you right now, Quake 3 Arena will have Oculus support, and I bet you can run it.
I have good news for you, Zorbs. DirectX 12.
You could stream Xbox One games to your device.
Yeah, more likely I wouldn't have an issue doing that.
For that authentic living room.
Yeah.
I want an arcade room experience. That'd be pretty fucking cool, right?
Just buy arcade machines.
Yeah.
They're heavy. They're so heavy.
I'm talking about, like, with all the noise going and people around. That'd be cool if they made something like that.
Buy machines.
I kept seeing that.
No, that doesn't work like that.
I kept seeing that argument about this idea of being in the virtual living room. People are like, why not just buy a TV instead? Because the TV's not versatile. I can't take my TV to my bed when I want to and just play a game with my Oculus Rift. I'm sorry.
I guess so you can tell someone in here didn't play arcade games.
All right. Before we kill each other.
You can tell he probably wasn't in arcades,
Oh, somebody messaged me somewhere.
Seriously, what's Quake Arena?
Quake 3 Arena is probably one of the most played multiplayer games of all time.
It's Sony's PS4.
You really don't know what Quake 3 Arena is?
No, I know what it is. I'm just trying to get the conversation to move along from Oculus.
Did you ever play
well, you just went back into the weeds because Quake 3 Arena, I guarantee Doom 3 is going to have an Oculus Rift mod eventually.
It already does.
Or not Doom 3. I'm talking
Doom 3
about.
BFG
I apologize. Not Doom 3. Doom.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The original Doom.
You can
the
Dooming. You can play like Legend of Zelda on Oculus Rift. The original Legend of Zelda, NES.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda on Oculus.
Do not let Nintendo know, or they will take them down.
The way that Miyamoto intended.
Woo! Yay!
Was that someone shooting themselves?
Yes.
That was
Michael has shot himself so many times.
I have.
Might as well call you a porn star. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a good thing I'm a crime scene investigator. I can identify what happened and burn the body.
Well,
so what you're telling me is you're the criminal that goes back to the scene of the crime?
Yes.
Oh! Oh, we have a mystery on our hands, Mr. Barry Allen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, news.
Mr.
And I have
Pedo
a
Allen.
dog named Scooby.
Stop me from talking.
All right, wait.
Host.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about something. I think this actually kicked off the news. Is Forza. A lot of stuff came about Forza.
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 It's pronounced like you would
Never
say
heard.
pizza. You know, you add the T in there.
Forza.
Thank you, Dusty. Thank you.
Do you say pizza?
It's Italian.
Pizza. It's
No, you
Forza.
add a T.
No,
it's
it's
Forza.
It's Forza.
Yeah.
It's Italian.
You don't see pizza.
Carry on with the news.
And
Carry on with the news.
Man, I love
Move
some
along.
pizza.
I know what we're
I
talking
love
about.
pizza. We're just talking about how you pronounce the
Good.
Come
the
on.
name
Talking about
Forza.
how those weird British people don't know how to pronounce words.
Yeah, it's all
Hey,
terrible.
come on.
All right, let's talk about Forza. Let's talk about 50 frames per second PAL only edition. Let's talk about 1080px.
3D
Yes.
poodle.
3D
1080
poodles.
pixels.
3D poodle.
There's going to be 1080 pixels, so that's what is that? Like 124 by 64.
Oh my god!
Uh,
I couldn't believe when people were like, "It does mean pixels." No, it doesn't.
No, it's progressive.
P stands for progressive. Just to throw it
can
out
tell.
there, it's just a small hint. It's not pixels, it's progressive.
You could tell some marketing guy wrote that placeholder article on Xbox.com, not knowing anything about tech.
Yeah.
1080px. 50.
No, but it
Yes.
also went through a translator.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
that's
it's,
Yeah, that too.
Xbox Japan.
yeah,
But
like-
anyway, then what's the news?
so there's 450 cars.
Whoa.
Over
Over 450 cars at launch. Not DLC, just there.
Big.
It's
How
going to
many
have 26 supposed
Wow.
tracks.
Laser tracks. Laser.
26. No,
Unique
there's a
photo
different.
scan.
Environment.
There is a
26
difference.
environments.
26 environments because then you have because for instance if they have Le Mans you'll have Bugatti and you'll have the 24 hours of Le Mans or which are separate tracks, completely separate,
hmm
but they're in the same environment,
Right.
so
they
you have
count.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Or the Nürburgring F1 circuit plus Nordesloh, which are two separate tracks but they're same environment, so we have no idea what the final track count is going to be. It could be absolutely gigantic.
Yeah.
Uh,
But the
I just-
environments is still a high number.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
have
yeah,
one
it's
question.
the-
How do you Brits say all those words?
So what?
No.
Shut up.
Nürburgring? Oh, no. I'm just-
Will I be able to wake up in a Bugatti?
Yes, as long as you have the Oculus Rift on
If
and you're
you
looking at
fall
the
asleep-
home cinema display.
If you fall asleep playing in the nude eating Cheetos.
You know what I'm wondering is if they let you customize your character. Because in a recent survey I did for Forza, for the Forza series, that was a big part of the questionnaire. So
That's cool.
that could be
Female,
happening.
female drivers.
Possibly, yeah.
Everybody's doing that. Even Trials has added them
Hey,
now.
you already
Equality.
have female players in FIFA now. We don't need female drivers. Good lord.
Jesus, dude.
If you choose a female driver, they're always on their cell phone. No, I'm sorry. But
No, they crash into
I'm on
walls
my
like the
cell phone,
Oculus
dude.
Rift demonstration.
uh,
All right, wait. No, we got to get into something real quick. Steve Rules just asked, what T-shirt should he wear, for E3, for the actual show? And I just want to know, Steve, is nudity an option?
I always said nude.
Well, it depends how hot it is. I mean, today was actually quite a nice hot day, so it could be. But I feel like as it's a gaming.
I'm
thing, I would
thinking
want the gaming
tattoos. I'm thinking tribal, okay? I'm thinking Viva
yeah.
Pinata
Steve,
tattoos.
Steve, do you know what the expression "drop trow" means?
I do not.
Okay, you need to drop trow. Come E3.
I think we need to drop trowel and talk about Forza 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's also we're gonna have weather and night racing. They have not confirmed whether or not it's dynamic. Who knows?
No,
Or
it's
was it
not
job
weather.
listing?
So isn't it like wet tracks?
Wet.
Is what people are
3D
trying to.
puddles.
They said weather. 3D puddles, which means back in the day, Dan Greenwald said he will not do weather until he can do it right, which means hydroplaning. which means driving into puddles, being pulled everywhere, losing control.
Physics for those puddles, yeah.
Actual
Yeah.
physics.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Talking
think
sense.
I got a
Talking
question.
sense.
Do you think this will only work with the power of the cloud?
No.
Wouldn't
No.
that be funny and ironic if you had to be connected online to the cloud for it to rain in your game?
Or for you to have 3D puddles at least.
For it to rain, you have to be connected to the internet, to the cloud, and it rains on you. I
Well, maybe
want
that's
that
what
to.
EA
I
is
want that
doing.
to be a
There is
thing.
some-
That's
Somewhat
what EA's doing
Dustin.
with the Need
I
for
want
Speed.
that to be a thing. I want the cloud to rain.
I did 24 cars too. We didn't. Did you mention that? 24 to
Well,
16?
I was trying to mention it.
24 cars.
24 cars on track at one time, which is the most, I believe, that's ever been on track in Forza Motorsport, which is up from 16 in Forza 5. By the way, back to the environments, the 26 environments are the most environments ever in a Forza title at launch.
Wow.
So people that are worried about the tracks, there you go. But yeah, this is honestly more than I thought it would be. Honestly. The amount of cars, the amount of tracks, just the features, the weather, I did not expect all this.
Me either. I thought I was
At all.
very impressed.
So yeah, and they have even more to talk about. Like,
Horse.
this is- yeah, of course,
Yeah, Porsche's
but
in it.
not till 2016,
Right.
which has definitely got to be an EA thing, probably because of Need for Speed. And nothing you can do about that. At least we have them in Horizon 2 right now. But yeah, Forza Motorsport 6 is shaping up to be awesome.
Huge.
Awesome.
I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm not. I liked it because I got it free at launch, and I hadn't played Forza in a few years, and this, it's going to have the racing. I remember sort of PGR4. Had all the weather and stuff, and that was pretty cool. It adds a new element. It's interesting to see what Turn 10 will do with all the changes. It's obviously a much bigger game. I think they talked about the Forza tech engine as well. So they've obviously done some big upgrades since launch, which obviously is it's a difficult milestone to hit. So I'm very excited for it. It sounds really good. I can't wait to see it in motion.
It's
Don't be
lined
su-
up to be the pretty much ultimate Forza, though.
Yeah. Don't be
Racing game of the
surprised,
generation.
Don't be surprised if you hear Forza Tech about 500 times and you're tired of the word by the end of next
Yeah.
week.
Double cash card.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
I think it's going to be a great game. I get the feeling it's going to be highly reviewed too. I think this is going to be their big game. So
Yeah.
for Turn 10, for their biggest in a while,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're motivated after launch. After they had a rough launch with Xbox. They had
They didn't have much time to work on Forza 5 too, as far as the tech
Right,
was
yeah.
concerned. So this is going to be their big generation.
and
game,
it's very. I mean, I saw a lot of the complaints. People complaining about, they're really worried about the crowd and stuff like that. I mean, it's very impressive to me that they're getting to 1080p 60 frames per second for what the Xbox is.
If there's a developer not to be worried about, it's Turn 10.
Yeah.
It's
And
going to be
like,
locked.
They have,
too.
a,
That's
they have a
crazy.
team of
With
400 people for their title. If
That's
anybody
the
could do it,
biggest-
they can do it.
It's just that's the most impressive thing to me, as they're going to get it there, and
Well, It's
that's-
Microsoft's most efficient studio too.
when the 50 frames per second thing came out, because Steve actually posted the thread on GAF.
Deliberately avoided putting 50 frames
Yep.
per second in the title,
Yes,
by
and
the
then
way.
and then he's like, he DMs me. He goes, get Aaron to confirm this.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, Steve. I said, obviously it's 60. It's a typo. But I could see his thread, and I saw how much it was going crazy, because people actually didn't think that you could have that with weather and rain, 1080p, 60 frames per second. But
And 24
a guy-
cars.
when a guy actually had talked to Microsoft, and I was vetting that, then I was telling Steve, Steve, it's real, it's good, and they got the confirmation. But that's how people don't people, they were ready to jump on that, it's going to be 1080p 30. If wet rain, forget it, no car can do it. But they did it. They upped the cars. I mean, and they have split screen too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh wow! I didn't
So-
know.
Unlike Halo.
And
It has
split-
split- and
we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Split
Which
screen
is amazing
also,
too. Is that going to be 60 frames per second too?
yes, it is.
Yes.
That's now that just doesn't make sense because you have to render that twice, right?
Well, that's why they're not
Uh,
doing split screen in single
It's
player.
also Halo's
Not
a
fully.
more open environment versus Forza, which is limited to closed tracks, so
Yeah.
they can render
Yeah.
specific things.
And Halo's doing it in multiplayer on PvP, but not.
And Forza
Co-op,
does
yeah.
tricks like when you look in your rear view mirror in Forza, that's only 30 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
But
And the
the rest of
reflections-
it's
The reflections are just the same image reversed too.
Yeah.
You can even see the marks from the direction and everything.
But I mean, it doesn't matter because it looks fucking amazing.
common-
Yeah.
A trick's a trick.
common.
I don't give a fuck. That's like people
Right.
that bitched about like, well, it doesn't have dynamic lighting. It's like, well, the time of day doesn't change, so it doesn't matter as long as the lighting looks good. It could be static as shit as long as it looks good. It's
And by the way, as far as that's concerned, that might actually be dynamic lighting.
Who knows?
Because the job listing Steve Rules found on May of 2015 said they were pushing Microsoft hardware to the very edge and that they needed someone with a background in dynamic lighting directly for Turn 10 Studios.
And everyone's gonna
I-
get their awesome lighting in Unreal Engine games soon. So.
Yeah.
and
So
I hate
why-
people to say it, but DirectX 12 is going to push lighting more than anything else this generation because of draw calls, and that's what we should expect.
Illumination.
Yes.
It also-
Oh yeah.
You know what's also going to help? Forward plus rendering. And I
Yes.
guarantee Forza 6 is forward plus rendering and not fucking deferred anymore. If people don't know, if I remember correctly, deferred, you literally do every single light at the same time. And with forward plus, it doesn't have to do that. It can do multiple frame. It doesn't have to choke itself to do everything.
It also makes a larger frame buffer for deferred, so
Yeah.
it's not
Uh-huh.
good for Xbox One.
And it also makes MSAA extremely cheap. So yeah, anti-aliasing, hopefully.
Yeah, it might be 2 times. I don't know if it'll be 4 times like
I'd be happy
Horizon.
with 2.
Yeah,
I'd
they
be
might do
happy
2
with
times
two.
in some kind of like post-processing form of it, like
Yeah.
FXAA type thing, you know?
Uh-huh. I'd be perfectly fine with 2 times plus something. Perfectly.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing. It
So,
really is.
Wicked Souls wants to know, why do people care about crowds in racing games? And I think the honest answer is photo mode. Because people
Well-
do photo mode, and because
Not just that. In the beginning of some races, the crowds will be right in front of the screen. So it's like 3, 2, 1. That entire time period, you see like the static image giving
Honestly,
you a weird
it'll-
smile. It's
They'll
creepy.
probably,
he's just
they'll probably
winking at
have-
you for. He's just,
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I'll have 3D crowds. If they're pushing 24 cars, which is
I don't think it will. I think it'll have
But-
3D beards. They're going to model it after Dan Greenawalt, and
But,
you're just going to get a bunch of beards.
it makes sense
All
because if
Dan
you look at
Greenwalds.
Yeah.
like if you look at the crowds in Horizon 2, they look really good up close. You go zoom in about 500 feet away, they look like Skeletor. So it,
Do we think it's DX12? For
Yes.
sure.
150%.
100%,
Yeah.
300%.
Considering they ported Forza 5 to DirectX 12.
Right.
That
yeah.
that
I
engine
built off
was
that.
yeah,
Well,
that
not
engine
only
was
that-
totally being
Not only that, they actually Turn 10 actually helped build Xbox One hardware.
Uh-huh.
yeah. But I mean, they've been pushing it. Like, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be 343 and Turn 10 to push DirectX this
And
Christmas.
Lionhead.
Yeah,
And I think it looks like they're going to do it. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
or a Tim Dog Loves Gaff sign. I could see that on the side of Forza. Like, I could.
We should make
That
a
would
car.
be great.
I might make
Yeah,
a
like
Maybe
photo.
I'll let-
four people would get it
Wait.
and nobody else would
We
care.
need to make a
Yep.
Tim Dog gaff car.
Yeah.
they're gonna spend so much time on an asset for that bullshit.
Well, no,
But
no,
no,
you can
we're
do
talking
the-
about
you can
ours
Create it
and
yourselves,
creative.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll share it to everyone, and it'll become the most
We're gonna
popular
waste-
car there is.
They
We're
should
gonna
have.
waste
They
that
should
much
have
time.
Mike. They should have a Mike sign just of his picture of his face.
Yeah.
That's what they should. I think that'll hit.
Y'all
a
can
lot
have
of-
the Tim Dog car. I'm taking the Steve Rules car.
Yeah, I will say there's an interesting comment here that says, I hope someone in the crowd has a sign that says Steve rules, Steve knows. I mean, you know, this guy, this is a good guy, I like this guy.
Yeah,
She'll
is
make
that just
donuts
a
with
fake
him.
account that you created, Steve.
I can't confirm or deny this.
The website's
Alright.
going to say steverules.com, not steverules.co.uk.
Okay, let's mosey all down. What we got next?
What? We got net? Oh,
We got more
God.
Forza.
We
We
got
got more Forza.
Yeah.
Forza.
Forza.
Even I'm tired of Forza.
What else about Forza?
You're
you
tired
wanna
of
talk about?
Forza
Horizon
too?
2. Forza Horizon 2.
Are
got
we
the
talking about
Porsche
Porsche?
expansion.
Are we
Yeah.
So Porsche
No,
came out. We bought it. It's awesome. The cars are awesome. It actually has its own tab in the menu for Porsche now. It's not even.
Ooh.
All the cars are immediately free for you just to pop in once you pay for it. So you just jump in, collect your cars. I wish there was like a collect all button so I didn't have to sit there for 10 fucking minutes going, yes, I want this car. Yes, I want that paint job. Yes, I want. I just wanted to say, mass, buy all of them, put them in my garage, and let's just call it a day.
Are there any
Mhm.
new events, or is it just the bucket list stuff?
Think bucket list stuff. That's it.
I don't think it's a true expansion, and I also don't think if they are working on expansion, I don't think this replaces that. As far as Bad Ned said, and if you don't know who Bad Ned is, he's a huge source for Forza
Yeah.
and pretty much exposed himself as someone that works for Turn 10
He's Dan
with
Greenwald.
his terminology. He could be Dan Greenwald if he is, I swear to God. But he said that this was literally the hardest thing they've done for the 10th anniversary of Forza. So their deal with EA probably sucked to get through at least. So I hope everyone's happy to have Forza because we most likely wouldn't have got it if they really didn't work their asses off to get it.
And the bigger news is it's coming to Forza 6 also.
In 2016, right?
Yep. Which mostly has everything to do with that deal.
Well,
I
because
think what
they
need
have
to do
the.
is
I'm
have
sorry.
I just want to say that I think that they need to have a spin-off series that they make in collaboration with Porsche, and they call it Porza. I think that would do really well.
Now, is it a multi-plat?
Well, the thing.
No, maybe with like cross-play, cross-buy with PC, but
Okay.
like, we're not going to put
It's
that on
only on PlayStation
U.
TV. and
No, I was
Xbox
totally
One.
thinking Wii U.
It's on
Like if
PlayStation
it's Forza.
TV and Ouya.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Sega
sense.
game. I think the only
Ouya and Atari
I think the only
Jaguar
other-
and Pippin.
Pippin.
Well, I was going to say Sega Game Gear.
Sega Game Gear.
Get a whole
It's
half
engaged,
hour
it's
out your
engaged.
batteries.
Yes, it'll be amazing. All right, well, I guess it's time to move on from Forza, and let's talk about what everybody talked about. Let's talk about Halo 5, Guardians.
There was Halo 5 news this week?
I don't know. Like Game Informer had this small article, just a little thing, and they talked everything Halo, all of it. They told the end of Halo 5. Master Chief dies for the third time in the series. Everyone dies. It's now a side scroller, and they're porting to SNES.
That's cool.
Yeah,
At least, man, SNES has some good sprite art, man.
it does.
I wish people would actually make good sprite art these days, not this bullshit 8-bit crap. Make some more Metal Slug style sprite art, damn it.
But honestly, we're getting 20 track or 20 maps at launch.
on launch.
20 plus is what they said, but 20. We're just going to say 20. And
And
then
probably multi-game mode.
15 more free after the fact. So don't worry. You
By
won't have
June
to.
2016, all will be out too.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'd be willing to bet that some of those maps are going to be specifically for given modes, right? Like sort of how Invasion in Halo Reach was like specific maps. I think they'll do the same thing, or at least sections of
I
maps.
just want Invasion again. I want
Absolutely, I
So
agree.
bad.
So I,
Bad news, everyone. No split screen co-op.
Yeah.
No split
First
screen.
one.
Okay, I wanna harp on this just a little bit, if I may.
No.
Now,
Moving
I
on.
understand-
No.
I understand that a lot of people are upset that, like, hey, they grew up playing the co-op, split screen, everything like that. I understand. I appreciate that. But how many people are using split screen today versus how many people are just, doing it online? Because I'm
You
sure that they have some kind of numbers that
Mhm.
allow them to detect how much that feature is used.
And just how
And
important it is to
they're
keep,
just saying-
to keep it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like 20 people have used it over the course of the entire year. It's like, yeah, it's not worth having. Anymore.
It's definitely a case of I remember doing it. It was fun as hell. Now we all have our own systems. It doesn't matter as much.
Well, you know what it reminds me of, and it's something that's also what Microsoft's going through right now is Windows Media Center, in that it's very vocal, the people saying, but if the data's actually come out on the people that actually use Windows Media Center, less than 1% of people use Windows Media Center. 9 out of 10 of those that use it accidentally opened it. And then most of the people that opened it on purpose used it to watch DVDs. But you go on any forum, any thread about Windows Media Center, and it's chock full of people complaining.
Yeah.
So it's I could see split screen is probably
You can always buy a Wii U, right?
Exactly.
Didn't
Just
they
get a
say
Wii U.
that they weren't even set in stone on how to take it? Wasn't it later like we're not fully sure, we're not going to support it yet?
Well,
Right?
they have said that they're gonna support it in multiplayer as far as like PvP.
But I thought this is specifically for campaign co-op for split
It's
screen.
not
that
for campaign
I
co-op,
thought they said later that what came out wasn't perfect and they're trying to figure it out.
Oh, okay, I don't remember that.
If I remember correctly-
Maybe
if I remember correctly, I
Frankie
heard
said
that.
something later. Yeah. I
It
don't
might
know.
be they end up deciding after, let's just do this at 30. Let's just give it to them at 30. Let them have it. I don't know.
Well, I think Frankie was saying that it might mess up things like animations and
Yep.
physics and things like that.
Mhm.
So it might make it hard.
Because, well, what people don't realize when you do split screen, that's more assets. It's not the same assets. You gotta, it's gotta run the game at not just a lower resolution. It's gotta have less effects. It's gotta have, it might even have to have lower textures. It
Well,
sucks.
I imagine it puts more wear and tear on the CPU than it would on the GPU too. In that case.
Oh yeah, and it just takes away development time that they really need for the rest of the game.
I mean, other than that, with all the details that are in this article, this game sounds awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Republic Commando Republic Commander.
Oh yeah.
I'm very when we get to talk about
I
Halo
love
5,
that.
there's stuff I want to talk about now that just came out. I'm really happy about it.
What came out?
What is it?
Voice actors for some people.
They fired them all, right?
Well, they like Laura Bailey is one of the new Spartans on Red Team. If you played any video game in the past 10 years, you've heard her voice. Travis William is Frederick, Spartan 104. I love Fred.
It's John Claude Van Damme in it. That's all I need to know.
And we know
he's-
Nathan Fillion's back as Buck.
Nathan Fillion is back as Buck. But I'm just really excited because Travis's voice, and then sometimes you don't. The elites in Halo 4 were voiced by him. So yeah,
I would love to see at least an Easter egg by Michael Key in this. I would love to see an Easter egg by Michael Key after his performance in Hunt the Truth, which has been utterly amazing.
yeah. Everyone there.
Or at least a small part, just something. That guy deserves
I
it.
agree.
He really
there's
does.
no way they
Good
won't.
point.
There's
Yeah,
an there's an audio log waiting for you somewhere.
I've never seen a guy act as well on an audio drama the way he has in that. It is nuts. He really gets
Pretty much
into it.
everyone involved has been
Yeah.
incredible. You know the fucking incredible thing is, there. Key and Peele is it's a sketch comedy show that he's a part of, and he was in one of their sketches. He was a flamboyantly gay person. This is
Oh,
he
I
was
remember that.
He had a penis whistle, right? He was knitting scrotum cozies. That level of just overblown, ridiculous gay. And then you listen to Hunt the Truth, and it's that is the same guy.
I think that
He's a
I
great
think we
actor.
call that
He's a
satire.
great actor. It's
By
a
the
great actor.
way,
Man.
everyone should watch that skit because it's hilarious.
It's called Office Homophobe.
yeah, it's
Homophobia,
great.
and it's satire.
No one spoiler.
He was one of the only redeeming things about Pitch Perfect 2 as well.
I'm glad you know that, Vern. We are all.
I saw it for
happy you know
free.
It doesn't
And
matter.
you still did.
You are our correspondent
It was
for all
terrible.
things Pitch
It was so
Perfect.
bad. Don't see it. Don't see it. Don't see it.
I have to know. There had to be singing in it. Were they Pitch Perfect?
Well,
As a professional singer, were they?
well, I mean, the way perfect pitch works is, I mean, like, you really can't tell because usually with these a cappella groups, they're choosing different keys than the original keys for these songs. So it's not like it really matters.
So
God only knows.
As long as they're all in tune with each other.
I'm taking that
that's
as
all
a
that
no.
matters.
No. Bad movie. Bad.
I brought my sensors with me. We're gonna find out. No.
But the singing in general was fine. It was a terrible movie.
Let's move on, please.
I want to
Actually,
talk
like,
more about
No, I want to
Pitch
talk
Perfect.
about this, guys.
Yeah,
I
Pitch
wanna
Perfect
talk
2 is
about it.
important. It's part of the podcast. You know what? Let's stop the show. How are you
The
doing, Vern?
golden throat segment.
You know, I was really good until I saw that fucking movie.
Now no wonder
I was worried about Vern's health. Y'all just want to run away from the topic. Vern just had to sit through something horrendous. Like, it's wrong. It's wrong. Tim's over there. You can see him in his camera. He saw Pitch Perfect. Look at his expression. I mean, he's he's not
watching
happy.
a bootleg version of it right now, probably.
Yeah,
This is
he's
really
tuning
good.
into a direct feed from a theater, watching it.
Who made the I did see the Matrix. Did you see the one on GIF? That is funny.
Oh, where the lady's using the.
Yeah. She looks up and
Oculus
she
Rift.
looks and the Matrix face
I think
comes
he
out.
photobombs it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what other news came out? Anybody? Anything? Because I don't know.
PC
1
adapter.
terabyte
Oh,
Xbox
There's a big one. The big one. 3 things are not going to be at E3. Well, one of them
Yeah,
was already
that's a big
announced
one.
not to be there, and that was Quantum Break. But Scalebound and Crackdown will not be at E3. All 3 of those games will be shown at Gamescom. So
Now, I wasn't surprised about Quantum Break, and I wasn't surprised about Scalebound, or Crackdown, but I am surprised about Scalebound.
me too.
I think that the reason why they've done it is because Quantum Break and Crackdown, European games, European show. And for Scalebound, I think it's a case of, okay, you can show it at E3, but then what do you do for Gamescom? But for the simple reason that the game's coming in like spring. Pretty sure. So 2 demos in such a quick, short time is just going to be a pain in the ass.
You can't
So-
wait till
I agree,
TGS.
but now it just sounds like there's going to be Forza, Halo, and Tomb Raider at the
Well-
E3 press conference.
That's all you need, bruh.
My theory why they're doing this is because Windows 10 comes out July 29th, which is before Gamescom. So any kind of Windows 10 announcements they're going to be making at this conference need to be there. They can't wait until the next
Well,
one.
they could be at the PC conference though.
Yeah, that's the possibility
Crackdown,
too. That's,
Crackdown, cross-buy, and cross-play. I'm calling
that's a
it.
possibility too. But
Yeah, there was a job
Oh,
list
yeah,
that
I think
hinted
it's-
at multi-platform.
I think
online
we can
only. Yeah.
we can pretty much push the show out right now, from start to finish. You know, with all the guys here. I think we're gonna get one big
I'm
surprise.
confused by what you mean by
I don't
that.
know.
Huh?
We
I
can
think they
predict
have a
the
lot
whole
more up their
show.
sleeves than people are thinking.
I'm confused
Yes,
now, like what this is going to be at this conference.
Well, I think that they have to have
Games.
one. They have
It's
a
gonna-
Megaton, in my opinion. They have
It's
a
gonna
big
be
one.
it's gonna be like that animated GIF they use on NeoGAF. It's nothing.
Well, no,
Look,
I really-
no, wait a second.
No,
this
it's
is
not
what's going to happen. I'm going to get on Twitter during the show, and Steve is going to go, TV's back, baby. That's going to be Steve. And they're going to talk about TV for 45 minutes and how the
No.
HDMI port's going to be amazing. The end.
Oculus.
Before we knew these 3 games weren't going to be at E3, I think we kind of all had an idea what we were going to get. And now that these 3 games aren't, that leaves a lot of room for other
Well,
stuff.
we could
So
do the game.
Well,
well,
it's
we could just do it right now. I mean, we could. You could do it right now. It's going to be Killer Instinct season 3. We know we're getting that.
probably
Killer
not.
Instinct wasn't it in the main show last year though. They've got their daily.
Well, they
show.
were in the first
And
show.
they're not
and-
even done season 2 yet,
Okay.
so.
You don't
Not
want to
officially.
take that off, okay? But
You're
they
going to
have-
see something to do with. You're probably going to. You know what you're going to see? You're probably going to see a Shadow Jago moveset release date, if anything, for
But
Killer
not in the
Instinct.
conference, probably, huh?
Yes, you.
I
will.
think
Yes,
you
will.
you might get season 3 announcement. That's possible. It's possible. It's not. You're
We'll
gonna
probably
have.
get something story related.
You're gonna get a lot
Max
from
Maximilian
Rare.
doing that.
Yeah,
You're
story
gonna
related.
get the 30th anniversary collection, just like Steve predicted, and you're gonna get a new IP, or I think it's gonna be a new IP from Rare. So
I
you
think
got
new
that.
IP is going to be at Gamescom, is my guess.
I don't think so. I think that Gamescom is pretty
That's
much.
going to be E3.
Well, to be
E3 has too
clear-
many eyes on it, and people expect too much from Rare for them to not do it at E3.
Yeah. Why would
Well,
they
the
push
thing
that
is,
off?
if
All
they're
right,
waiting,
let's
they're-
Steve,
if they
you can go for it.
if they're going to show Crackdown and Quantum Break European games at a European show, then if Res Game's not coming out, I mean, I assume it's not anywhere near done. So why not say, for example, the new IP, which is their AAA thing for Gamescom, and show the collection and say Battletoads, which I'm assuming will be a smaller project.
That's what I'm guessing too.
That makes, and the thing is, they've said that they're going to have equal amounts of sort of like new and distinct content between both of them. So
Right.
you know, Lionhead's new IP this time last year, they said it could be at this E3. Well, I don't think it will be at this E3. I think it will be, if they're going to show it this year, probably be Gamescom. Like we'll see that, you know, their American partners will be at E3.
Maybe a third-party exclusive or something.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure they've got, you know, lots of
And they
American
said,
things somewhere.
and they said that Phil Spencer himself said that there's going to be as much new content as E3 as there will be at Gamescom.
And he's
So-
calling this the best lineup for E3 in Xbox
Yes, the
history.
best.
So, what?
So why
They
did he
must have
some?
some good stuff.
He's
They have
feeling
some money
himself.
adding.
I'm privy to something that I know that you guys don't know, and you know that I know that about it. But if it
Let's
is,
spill the fucking beans, nerd.
Well, it might
Not
not
to
even be
spill it.
true.
but if it is, you could slot that in there, and then you could it's just something that you can say won the show. Put it that way. So you
Okay,
have all the
so
content-
wait a second. We had this prediction last year from Hip Hop Gamer. I just want to make sure. Are you going to come back on the show after the fact
And say what you thought it
to
was.
say what you thought it was?
Yes,
Because here's
I
the
will,
thing.
but-
Here's the thing, Tim. Tim, I got to give credit. The man
I will-
himself,
yeah, I'll tell you
after
guys.
saying that Sony was going to beat change the industry itself, he did come back on the show. I give Hip Hop Gamer credit. I wasn't
mean,
trying
it's
to undermine the
something that I
man.
heard from you. Vern knows the story. I mean,
But I don't know what the news is.
You
I
don't know
what
the
game
game. You
is.
saw what happened. You saw
Yeah,
what
I
happened.
saw what happened.
Obviously, I was told something, and to me, I vetted it. I checked it out. The same person that told me this gave me information that was way before the announcement of another thing that happened. So that checked out. So to
Does
me, it's a
Microsoft buy
good
Nintendo?
source.
Tim,
Well,
let me just tell you, Tim. Thank you for not immediately going and leaking it on a random fucking website. Just
No,
to kill
I would
it.
never do that. I want the fans
Thank
to be
you.
excited.
I just,
want-
that's so.
Tim,
that's-
Tim,
I
can
just
I get an
want to say,
exclusive?
Steve,
What?
fuck you.
Can I get an exclusive?
Steve wants it 10 minutes before the
from
conference.
I would never do that to the fans. I mean, I actually it was happening because I was complaining on Twitter that we never get surprises, and this person said, "Well, you know, this and that," and then I DM'd him, and then he said, "Well, since I've told you things in the past, which he has, I'm going to tell you this in full confidence that you don't tell anybody." Because this is from somebody that that told me in confidence, and
All right, just
he-
tell us in the West
we're
the
not saying
Twitch
that.
stream
I'm not saying anything,
in
but whatever. The
confidence.
point is
Nobody
that
on Twitch
it
will
makes
say.
more sense that it actually could happen because they push these games. Otherwise, why would they leave themselves light for E3? It doesn't make any sense. So either it's this or it's some surprise that we don't know about.
Or a few.
That or they're really fucking
And
confident.
by the
in what they
way,
have
I
for
don't
it.
think Phantom Dust is going to be here either. I think
No.
Phantom
No.
Dust
Huh.
is going to be TGS.
Why would they go light
I
though?
think
mean,
Phantom Dust is going to be a year away, honestly.
I think
You
Phantom
really-
Dust is vaporware. Well, vapor
think-
dust or
yeah,
I think there'll
dust.
be a
Phantom
trailer
Dust
at
isn't going to show
TGS.
for a while.
I think
Yeah.
the thing is that it ultimately depends on what they actually did with it. Did they have two people working on it at the same time? I mean, if it's at E3, then that would be, I think, plainly obvious that they in fact did. But maybe they didn't. But I wouldn't be surprised if it got a Gamescom trailer or something. You know, just something else, and then they announced the developer and like, yes, this exists. We're going forwards with it. Just so you guys know. I think it's very curious that they had a developer back then, but they didn't tell anyone. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we found out they had two studios on it and they picked one. I mean, you know, it's not
It's
great.
so shitty if that's really what they did.
Well, it seems
Because the other developer thought they were the studio.
We
so-
were the guys. We were them. It's like, no, actually.
Well,
That's
maybe you shouldn't have done such a shitty job. I'm sorry.
Maybe should have busy porting stuff over to other platforms.
All right. Well, let's not shit on people.
I know. Yeah, I'm not going to shit on Dark Side. They probably did a lot of hard work. So
A lot of good people over there. hire them when their company goes under. But it's a joke. It's a joke. All right, I'm sorry. But any other news, people? Anything else?
Darksiders 2, yeah, that just...
I thought that was PS4 only.
Nope.
No.
Anybody who thought that is an idiot.
What if I thought that?
To be fair, they
You want your rose next week, huh? Huh? You gonna call me an idiot?
I would.
Oh,
They
okay.
were unnecessarily cagey.
At least
about
you're
it, though.
honest.
And their other game isn't coming to Xbox One. The one that's on like everything but Xbox One. And then when someone asked them why is it on Xbox One, they just said ask Microsoft. So it did seem like perhaps there was I don't know, an issue there.
What is that? It's Crytek Austin, right?
That's not the
No,
response
it's people
to-
it's people that worked there, but they also worked at the original developer Vigil. Crytek Austin doesn't exist anymore.
That's right. Yeah, they had to drop them. So what is it? What is the new studio then?
I can't remember.
Because
Crytek Austin was rebuilt kind of at Deep Silver, wasn't it?
yeah, well, because Deep Silver is the publisher that picked up the Darksiders IP.
No, it wasn't. That was
No,
Nordic
no,
Games.
Nordic did.
Nordic. Wait. There's so much shit about that the THQ fall apart.
Yeah, it got all crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Anything
they
else?
also said they're working on another sort of. They seem like a big budget game, so like a sequel of some sort. So
That'd be good. Make it more like Darksiders 1, though.
So
Darksiders 2 is not as good.
I did learn that $25 for a dongle for the Xbox One controller for the PC is way overpriced, according to
That's
some.
not bad at all.
No, it's overpriced because once you factor in you have to buy a controller and the dongle, it's just crazy, Vern. It's crazy talk. It's like $89.
Aren't they selling that for $75 together?
I don't care. I'm doing my math, not yours. I already bought the controller, so that's $89.
Dude, the fact that it can do PC audio and microphone through the port is awesome.
Yes.
Like the fact that I can just go from playing my Xbox straight going to PC and I don't have to do anything with the audio. Just bam, just get to it. That's awesome. I love that.
I do have some bad news for Xbox One. Apparently, Street Fighter V in no way or form will ever come to Xbox One. Not in the Ultra form or Super Ultra or whatever. It's never going to ship on Xbox One, according to Capcom representatives. So they said that number of 5 is exclusive to PS4, so that doesn't mean a 6 can't come, but 5 will never
People
come.
are going to play it on PC anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's been money-hatted to using the PS4 version for Capcom Pro Tour, but otherwise people are going to play it on PC.
Don't worry, it's going to be amazing with this input lag. I mean, will be amazing. Frame
they're
rate
gonna
will
play
be
it on
great.
Xbox 360 because apparently that's the only version of Street Fighter that works.
Supposedly.
Meanwhile, Killer Instinct. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, can't talk. That's a great game.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Maximilian comes up with the story for that because he's been working pretty hard on it.
Yeah, it should be exciting.
And, and it's Gaffer made. He's on Gaff.
Oh, and we do know that a new large-scale Darksiders game is in the works now from Nordic.
I just said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you
You
said.
just completely
that
Oh,
went
didn't
hand
pay
in hand
attention.
with the.
I thought you
with
were
the
talking
port.
about the port. I thought you were talking about the port. Okay, I'm sorry.
That goes hand in hand with the port, dude.
I couldn't understand your stupid accent.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's right.
I see what
I'm never coming back to this podcast again.
all the listeners out there, they can hear this blatant bullying.
I just heard some impish British accent. I didn't know what I was listening to.
I'd say when
Yeah,
we
shut
come
it
for
on.
you, when we invade Vern, I'd say you're the first place I'm going.
Yeah, you're coming straight to Little Rock.
I'll go straight to Little Rock.
You're
Do you
gonna
even know? Do you know what state Little Rock is in?
Begins with
doesn't.
AR, like Arizona.
yeah, Arizona.
Close.
That's it. That's you just go right for Arizona and you look.
Albuquerque.
No, that's where Bugs Bunny
That's
is.
surprisingly close, actually, in a very
Okay.
particular manner.
Okay, that's be nice to me.
No.
You leaked everything for E3. I'm not nice to you.
So, how many controller? No, I'm just let's move
There's
on.
nothing to leak. They've got nothing. The E3 is
You
dead.
ruined everything, Steve.
Everything's dead. Should go cry in a corner. Tim, you don't need to get your flight out there. Just.
All right. Well, I guess we've come to the. What do we expect
Well,
to
what
see at? Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I was gonna say, didn't people want to talk about Halo 5 news as far as like what the actual game's gonna have in it, not the multiplayer and all that? I thought Michael wanted to talk about that stuff or something.
Oh yeah. So it's been officially confirmed that you're going to be playing two sides, more or less. One with Chief, one with Locke. And it was noted that one of the main designers worked on Republic Commando, and there's stuff that carries over from that. And that
That's the Star Wars game, yeah.
Star Wars game, yeah, where you're playing as, I guess it was early Galactic Republic troopers, not
Yeah.
clone troopers, not stormtroopers. But
It
There was a
was
team
they were
base.
they were clones. They had
oh, it was during the clone era. Okay,
yeah, like
okay.
let me tell you, I am a Republic Commando authority. This is one of my all-time favorite games. So when I read that like one of the lead designers was working on it, I was like, great, fantastic. This is one of the best games ever.
Awesome.
Yeah, they were clones. So like they start off in Geonosis, Attack of the Clones, and then they go to like Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, so sort of like the Star Wars Battlefront plot.
Yeah. They
so-
actually had the same voice actor, the guy who played Django. So
Jago, not Django.
Jingo?
Or-
Isn't that a game? Like a port? No.
No.
No,
Star
it's
Wars
Jenga.
Jenga.
I'm sorry.
So you're gonna control two teams. You give them orders, and each of the characters is gonna have a different loadout and different abilities. They haven't detailed that yet, but E3 is a week away, so it'd be cool to see the different things. And each team has different members. Blue team is Kelly, John, Linda, and Fred. Spartans people love, and Fire Team Osiris is Locke, Buck,
Boo.
and two other people I forgot the names of right now. They're two new female characters. They're both Spartan 4s.
Tanaka, I think, is one of them.
Tanaka and somebody else. But but then that also brings the question of how are we going to fit together? What's going to happen? Is it going to be two sides of the same story? Is it going to be completely different campaigns on both sides? Who's hunting who? Is somebody following somebody? It's all this sort of like really big speculation that is just we want to know, and they're like, you'll find out soon. But
And
Game Informer is doing this all month, so
the really interesting part for me wasn't all, well, it was that, but the really, really interesting part was that they came out and said this is basically going to be the largest, most open Halo. There's going to be multiple paths and levels. When you go after an objective, there will be multiple paths to the objective and ways to deal with it. So,
At 60 frames per second, that's crazy.
and 60 frames per second.
no, it's not. I completely believed it.
No, to have open world type levels in
Nah.
60 frames per second. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's
they're,
not cool?
They're gonna actually
it's not
just
that big
have
of a deal.
two
That's a big
grunts.
deal.
That's gonna be the maximum on screen at any time.
It's they're
You find
not
me an open world game with 60 frames per second. You don't see that stuff.
any
so
game on PC. It's an open world game.
never mind.
Because this also is an open world in like a Grand Theft Auto sense or a Skyrim sense.
Obviously.
These are more open levels, so more like Halo 1,
But
for example.
that's
Or
the
Crysis.
jackass comment of it. Well, just look at anything on PC. Yeah, anything on PC can be 60. You just need to throw a couple Titans at it. It'll be 60. Like that's
my
that's-
shitty laptop runs Saints Row at 60.
wow. That's the game you're gonna go for, Saints Row.
No, I'm
Saints
just saying that people thinking this is an open world game are fucking retarded.
I didn't say
No,
it was
but
an
I don't
open
think
world
it's
game.
fucking
why-
retarded. But I
why'd you
think
say
that
open
Crisis 3
Open
is
world like environments is what I said.
yeah. Like if you
Relax.
look at
What's the
stuff
issue with
like
that?
Crisis 2, which is not technically an open world, but it has multiple directions and levels.
That's
That
part of
is
the goal.
more like close to it, and you will never saw something like that on console at 60 frames per second. You
On
always saw it
360.
at 30. No, on PS3, 360, PS4, Xbox One. You just don't see it. It doesn't happen that often. Like, it is a rarity. It is not... It is the exception when you see
Is
that
it
happen.
because we've never seen it before, or is it because no one's ever done it before? This
It's
generation.
because people will choose graphics over frame rate.
And you know what? We're going to piss off a lot of people because...
This game right here, that it does that exact
You
thing
said
you're looking for at
Metro?
60. Yeah, Metro.
Metro is like a game
linear
that's
game.
very old.
It's not very old. It was one of
Well,
the first
In
DirectX 11 games.
in the time frame of technology, it is ancient.
When Last
Oh,
Light
yeah,
came out
yeah.
in 2013.
Yes.
Guys, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Honestly, people are going to be pissed off because I'm going to say it, and they're going to be like, well, say it again. One of the things making this possible, DirectX 12, because when you do an open world thing like that, a lot of CPU, a lot of draw calls, something DirectX 12
We
helps.
need to get you a DirectX 12
I know.
tattoo, Jason.
But
Put one right in your forehead.
you know how important,
Well, the Epic CEO
Look,
came out.
honestly, hold up. I don't think people understand how big it is for Xbox. I really don't. I think
People
it's been,
don't realize
it's
it's
been thrown
it's-
to the shitter so much the past few months that people think it's just some bullshit thing. It will help when doing shit like this.
A GPU
Why do you think they
bound
shut off
game is
those,
going to be GPU bound, but a game that has, like you said, a ton of draw calls. Think of a RTS Halo Wars 2 or something like that. That is going to be on a different level now. It's just there's no ways around it. It's going to be on a different, bigger, better level. A game that like Witcher 3, it's a GPU bound game, but like you said, draw calls. How much of the draw calls are actually up from original? From I know it's not low level, but what was the percentage more draw calls that you could do with DX12 compared to DX11?
I don't know the exact percentage, but I do know it went from being able two CPUs could communicate with a GPU at a time, but now all 8 GPUs will be able to continuously send draw
Right.
calls. But
Right.
the difference is that doesn't even matter. Just go back and watch. There's a reason they showed the demo at Build, where they showed a demo that became more complex, and it did not choke. The point of that was draw calls. With it being able to handle all the draw calls, it didn't have to choke because it could understand all of it. But with DirectX 11, it didn't know what the hell to do. It choked. And that's the same thing that's going to that happens when you have CPU-bound games that are large open worlds like this. It opens possibilities. And it's too bad that most people will shit on it for that. But, I mean, it is what it is. I hate it. I mean, it's coming. It's exciting. That's what it is. I don't know what else you want me to say. I know people
Nothing.
are like, "Oh, you said DirectX 12 again." Well, DirectX 12 is really fucking important, especially for the Xbox One. I mean, take that how you will. Now I killed the mood.
Yeah, so
How
shut the
good.
fuck up. Sunderland, no, there were no letters, but if people in the chat want to ask us questions, we are totally down. My question is, what do y'all expect to see at E3? At the Microsoft conference? What any idea? Tim, I guess you can't say anything because you actually know some stuff, so I don't want you to
Well, I don't know
be
if
in that
it's true,
predicament.
but
No, but I don't want you to be in that predicament where whatever, people think you're doing anything.
Twisted Pixel.
Twisted Pixel?
Decisive Games.
Mm-hmm.
HoloLens.
All right. Stop throwing shit at the wall, Steve. I was only asking for like one prediction, not 600. Steve just pulled up his wiki page and he's just like this one. It's like, all right, I understand, Steve. We know you'd like to write a lot, and that's what you do on steverules.com. Please visit his site to see his list of 600 reasons why the Xbox One will fail at E3. He's working on that article as we speak. I convinced Steve to go more link bait, just trying to help push traffic. But anybody else, any ideas what we might see at E3? At Microsoft
Dynamic
show?
weather and dynamic time of day for Forza at a lock 60 frames per second.
Yeah, I believe it. But
I'm gonna Shenmue 3, guys.
Shenmue 3. It's a gutsy call, but I'm gonna give it to you.
It's not
Shenmue
happening.
3. Microsoft bought it. That's the big
might as
game
well
Tim
say
can't
If it
talk
does, it'll
about.
end up at Sony's conference for some reason.
Actually, I think you're wrong, Vern. I think it's gonna end up as a Wii U exclusive.
There you go. That makes sense. Just like
It's just
Devil's
gonna be
Third.
so fucking weird. It's just like, yeah, this is a Wii U thing, and we're discontinuing the Wii U this year, but Shenmue's gonna
This will be
there.
the last big game.
Yeah, this is gonna be it. We're making it finally.
No, well, Microsoft. I think we're going to see this Joe Montana game, and I think it's going to be an NFL license. That's my crazy prediction.
Any crazy predictions,
think-
Michael?
Nope.
No. Tim,
I'd be surprised.
please break your silence.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. If they don't have what I'm told, or they don't have a Megaton, I don't understand why they would push the things off the way they did, because it seems like they either have that, or they push themselves light for E3.
HoloLens.
No, not HoloLens. So I'm gonna say that there's a big announcement. There's a huge announcement, and that's gonna be the it's not gonna close the show, but it might be the thing that leads up to
think
it.
of the best possible announcement you can possibly think of. Now think of something bigger than that.
Well,
Thank you, Hip Hop Gamer.
Hopefully they have a Megaton, because
I think that's a direct quote.
The Xbox One is getting expandable RAM.
Yes, expandable RAM.
I don't think Montana's gonna have the NFL. I'm pretty sure of that. Sorry,
Oh,
Steve.
shit.
Barry Allen.
I don't know anything. I just my feeling is just I don't think it's coming. So that's not really a Megaton. If it is, it's a big one. But they get the NFL. I don't think they're getting it. So from what we know, but there has to be something that we don't know about. Just like today, that we did not know about. It has not been leaked. It could be the thing that I was told, which would
We still
which
got a
would be
full
fine.
weekend,
Well,
buddy.
We
Full
had no
weekend.
clue Phil Spencer was going to be at this conference today. He just came out
Right.
of nowhere. So
It's like,
they
suck
could-
ass.
exactly. So anything can happen. I mean, these 3 games
Exactly.
slipped. Anything can these 3 games were moved to Gamescom. Anything can happen.
I
I
almost
have
think-
no clue.
I almost think Phil's drunk now. He's just randomly walking into conferences. He's probably
It's
gonna
like,
get
hey,
Shut
Hey,
up, Sony.
hey,
you
hey,
have
look.
Minecraft?
look,
Hey, what
don't,
the fuck is this,
don't
man?
worry. Look. Just let me on stage. Here's some footage. Just give me 5 minutes.
Give me the page. Give me the button.
Don't even
Give
worry
me the
about the
button.
prompter. Just pause it. Hey, everybody, DirectX 12, Windows 10.
I'm out.
Support.
They're gonna bring up DirectX 12, I think, and they're gonna tie it into the streaming. But the streaming is definitely getting announced, and I think it's gonna be announced 1080p 60 frames per second. At
It's
least I
already
hope.
announced
Now,
1080.
these-
No, it's not. Ybarra said that they're gunning for 1080p 60 frames per second. Right now, they were currently at 720, and that was about 4 months ago. So
No, but
think that.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
hope there's not too much of that stuff, though. I really, as a fan, I want games. I don't want it to be a Windows 10 conference.
There will be some hardware stuff, though. I mean, we're just going to have to expect that.
It's not just with that. I think we're going to see system UI stuff.
Yeah, that too. The preview.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if it's stuff I want to see, then that's fine. I mean, but the thing is, last year and the year before, they were very focused on this games thing. This year, they do seem to like there's going to be a bit of deviation, not necessarily too much, but OS stuff.
Well,
Possibly,
But we
Yeah,
could be
they mentioned
completely
hardware
off base,
things.
seeing as they're doing the OS stuff on a pre-show on GameSpot.
well, they said they're doing things different this year too, though. So what does that mean?
Regards
Neck.
to Joe Montana
everything.
being announced and then launching in like 6 weeks.
Uh
Because they said they had 2 summer games that were
Or
unannounced.
being
I
at
mean,
the
they're
PC
still
conference
unannounced.
too. That might be that as well.
Yeah.
Are we also? Are these predictions? Do they also count for the PC conference he's going to be out?
Whatever,
Or
anything
just strictly
Microsoft related.
Xbox conference? Because
Anything
I think they're going to
Microsoft related.
announce. I think they're going to announce at least that they're making an RTS game at the PC conference.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They've already been rumored. They teased Halo Wars.
And Killer
I-
Instinct for PC.
I can see
That
it.
could happen.
If you want
see
to kill that franchise, sure, go ahead.
I don't know if that'd kill it. That'll bring more people into it.
So long
I mean,
as
It would kill its involvement with
crossplay.
Xbox. That's for sure.
But you know what? You gotta ignore the PS4 shit. I mean, come on. At the bottom line, it doesn't matter.
It's
At the
not
bot-
selling consoles anymore at this point, probably.
Yeah,
You
it's Killer Instinct is a supported franchise now. It's got a following. There's nothing wrong with expanding it to another because there's
Platform.
other projects being made. It's whatever. Everyone wants to go on about how every Xbox One exclusive ends up on PC.
Well-
Well, guess what? Microsoft owns PC. They own Windows. They have to
And
support.
the
They
payment
don't own
model.
Steam though.
The payment model makes sense too, to put it on PC. That's part of the reason. I think
It doesn't matter if they don't own Steam. It really
They don't have
doesn't.
to put it on Steam. They're going to have a brand new store,
No,
the
it'd be a
Windows
Windows Store exclusive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just needs to have crossplay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all. It cross-buy, cross-play,
Right.
fantastic.
Because if all our characters we've already purchased on the Xbox One version can then be played on the PC at 1080p.
Oh, if they come
That's
out
cool.
of that PC conference and they say everyone that already owns Killer Instinct on their Xbox One will have it for free and all their content on PC when it comes out with Windows 10, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. And also you can do the same thing with maybe like Shovel Knight, because they said that they're going to bring ID at Xbox to Windows 10, and that was like the big game that they
Shovel Knight's already out on PC.
On the
they're gonna
Windows
have it
Store.
on Windows Store, but they could say, hey, this is a Microsoft thing. We did something pretty specific with the Xbox version of Shovel Knight, and we're going to put that on PC in a fashion. Battletoads.
I mean, they already said they're going to do that.
And blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be great. Everyone's going to have a good time. Ken Lobb is going to make a new GoldenEye, and it's going to be a blast.
Go talk to Activision about that.
I don't think they've got the license anymore.
Doesn't matter.
But I think, they've just got this Oculus thing. So, you look at the other PC partners out there. Epic, they've been close to Valve. They did a load of stuff with them, like Left 4 Dead. Well, they didn't make it with them, but they got it on 360. I think there's a lot of sort of other PC studios. I don't quite know if they do anything with Crytek anymore. It doesn't sound like it. But those teams that they've worked with before, maybe they'll try and sort of renew those things, because those were the people that they really got to sort of come over to consoles with them. And if this Oculus thing shows that they're clearly looking at that sort of thing again. So.
Pop, 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 pop,
Pop, pop, pop. Somebody's messing with microphones. I wish I had a timestamp for that, because I would like to get rid of that. No, I do have it. Let me bring up Audacity real quick. That
11:36 or so.
Yeah, 11:30.
Or 1:36.
1 hour. Yeah, I was about to say, you really fucked my mind up. I was like, that's totally wrong. All right, well, what do you... I kind of want to go into the other conferences.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about, what do you guys think about their E3 Not the conference, but the Major Nelson hosted We're going to have all these interviews. And everything.
Xbox Daily.
Last year they didn't do too much of them. They just had
now
like
they're
extra
gonna,
interviews,
No, this is they're building this up.
They're building this one big up. They're actually going to have a Terminator world premiere trailer there. Well, not world. You know what? World premiere.
Every day for 5 days
nowadays.
they're having this.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3 days.
3 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Thing is,
Xbox
last
Fan
year,
Fest is 3 days, 5 days. I'm sorry.
thing is, last year they just had like a half an hour pre-show, and they announced like Happy Wars, Killer Instinct Season 2. They've definitely positioned this as we've got new announcements every single day. I think Press Play have sort of hinted that they talked about being at something just before E3. I mean, the daily shows are just after, so I wonder if that's kind of what they meant, and the plans weren't sort of finalized by then.
Maybe.
But I think there'll be indie announcements in there. I wouldn't expect too much in terms of Microsoft, but as I said, Press Play Games, something else small for another developer.
Well, maybe they show like a reel of indie games during the conference for some of the stuff that's not on stage, and then during the show for the indie titles, then they show full trailers and maybe interviews with the developers, stuff like that.
Connect Sports 4.
Yeah, that too.
If it's going to exist, that's where it will show up.
Yeah. For Oculus Rift.
Yes. DirectX 10.
Google Cardboard.
Exclusive.
Also, I'm going to go out and say right now, I don't think they're going to show any operating system at their conference. I think it's going to be at the show. It's either going to be at the show or it's going to be pre-announced before the event. I just don't see them doing.
Well, they've already said that they were going to show it at
operating system,
GameSpot. But I could see them talking about it for a couple minutes.
I could see them showing it on stage, but I don't see them openly coming. This is the new operating. I don't see them doing anything like that. Not after the past few years when they've completely ignored all of that. I know they're doing something different, but not. I don't think they're going to come out and go, an operating system.
But see, this the thing. We have no clue what they're gonna do. Whereas we kind of had an idea last year because of
Was
the
that 'cause the
kernel
entire-
leaks.
As
the
of
thing
right
is-
now, we are changing the UI to the Xbox One now.
But
Well,
like,
the thing. Oh, sorry.
well, we really had the whole thing spoiled pretty much last year. But this year we don't have a clue. And now that those 3 games
That's
have been
good.
moved back, we just don't know.
That
great.
really throws a whole loop in this whole thing.
It's
Maybe
great.
there's nothing.
They spoiled everything themselves.
I'm not taking that, Steve. You can shut your face.
The thing is,
Well,
what,
it's
they'll, what they'll do is they'll keep it really, really close knit, and then about an hour before the show, they'll do what they did in 2011 and post the entire thing on their own bloody website.
Yep.
Italy that literally posted the entire show up. Genius.
And hopefully someone got fired.
Well, that's it for Microsoft. Let's talk about Nintendo. The second conference that we love on this show because we love Nintendo.
Star Fox, Mario Maker, new Animal Crossing. I'm gonna say.
Pokemon.
We're finally
Okay.
gonna get Pokemon for Wii U, right?
No.
That is
A
the
real
only,
one.
that is
Wait,
the
hold
only-
up, guys. Can I go over the list? Mario, Zelda,
No Zelda. We won't see Zelda.
Star Fox.
But you'll see Zelda, Hyrule Warriors, and 3DS.
Oh,
there
that's
might be a
true.
new Metroid.
Dude, it's Nintendo. Come on.
So there won't be any
Mario
Metroid.
Kart.
Well, Diddy Kong was recently trademarked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Retro is working on a Diddy Kong game. That's a possibility.
Diddy Kong Racing.
2.
Could be.
Dos.
Maybe that's what Rare are doing. Did they make the last one?
Maybe
DS.
Phil Spencer will show up at
If they
the
made a
Nintendo
kart racer?
and be
Dude,
like
I would
Banjo
be-
Kazooie in
I would
Super
be
Smash.
all in on a kart racer, man. Whew. We need one of those.
For 3DS.
I can't wait for the porn movie, Diddy Dong.
And a crowdfund to be shot in space for 3.4 million.
All right. Well, I guess Nintendo is going to announce Pokemon Wii U, and even that's not going to save that platform, and it'll just die.
Michael's gone.
How can you say something's going to die if it's already dead?
No, because like there's a difference between like on your way to the morgue and like being in the morgue.
And it's going to be in it because we're not going to see many game announcements, I'm guessing. Because I think any more game announcements that are going to come that are really important, that stuff's going to be held for the NX or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. So,
I think-
this is going to be the last one that has some announcements, but I don't think it'll be major ones.
I think most of their stuff will probably be 3DS related, and that's
Yeah.
they just announced like 15 million in the US or something, which is like their 8th platform to do it or something. So, not a bad number.
I mean, I like Wii U. I have one. I think it's pretty cool.
Do you
There's
play
good
with
games
it
on
often?
it, yeah.
I think that's
You-
to most people. I like the games to Wii U. Just not the console, the controller, interface. Like all the other shit. The games are good.
The online
But
support. yeah.
Everything else is just awful.
/r/Splatoon. I'm sorry.
Huh?
Oh,
Nobody needs to go to that Reddit page.
Splatoon.
no. Slut-tune.
Oh.
Don't. It's
You should
bad.
definitely not go into that industry.
I'm sorry.
You
Yeah,
should be. Stop derailing. All right.
Well, we were talking about
No,
Nintendo.
you're trying to talk up bullshit. So stop derailing. All right. Any other predictions for Nintendo, guys? Anything? I mean, we're not going to see their new console. I don't think we'll see Nintendo hold a real press conference next year to show off whatever it is, the NX or whatever the fuck it's going to be called.
Now's the time for Metroid, too. If they're going to do Metroid, it's now. If not, well, I don't know when the hell they're going to do
It'll
it.
be a cross-gen title for them. It'll be on the Wii U and their next platform.
Or they'll announce it for the Wii U, and then later on they'll shift it or say it's coming out on both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. NPD. Did we get numbers for NPD?
Yes.
Microsoft
It
gave a
was like,
percentage so you can work it out.
yeah, I think it's like it was 81% over the last year or something like that. 140 something thousand maybe. I don't remember.
All right. That's our NPD talk. It's amazing, ain't it? All right. Sony conference. What do we expect? What do we
Half Morpheus. No,
Half
I really don't think
Morpheus.
I don't think it's gonna be half. I'm
I-
thinking maybe a
it's-
third or a fourth Morpheus.
It's going to be really heavy Morpheus.
It will, but
Really
it's
heavy.
gonna probably end up running 2 hours. So we might get like a half hour Morpheus,
Easily.
or they'll spend 20 minutes on it, and then they'll show a bunch of games, and at the end of each game it'll say also on Morpheus or something like that. You know.
I
Do you
think we're
think
going
they're
to get a
gonna-
surprise title on Morpheus, like something you wouldn't expect to be a Morpheus.
We're gonna
think-
see. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I think they're gonna have something big from Epic, and it's gonna be VR only.
Possibly.
Could be.
I wouldn't doubt Gran Turismo 7 CG trailer.
That's a possibility.
Uh,
We know Bloodborne DLC is probably going to be there. The Guerrilla Games game, Horizon, they're calling it right now. That'll be there.
I'm mega hyped for that. I really hope that that is as good as it kind of sounds like it's gonna be
Eh,
from the leaks.
There's been bad talk about it, actually.
You got to be positive, Vern. Positive reinforcement.
No, really. There's been there's been at least like 3 sources from what I've seen that say it's kind of not in good shape. Apparently the Sony Ben game, though, is supposed to be in good shape. So, and the rumor is that it's going to be an open world horror game, much like the style of, say, like The Last of Us, but open world. You know.
I'm going to
So-
call it now. Destiny opens up the PlayStation
Yes.
conference.
Destiny
they're going to say
expansion.
the same exact video from last. No.
Yeah, we know Destiny expansion. We know Battlefront's going to be there. We're guessing that COD, Black Ops 3 will be there. They're probably going to show a launch trailer for the Batman game coming out.
Yeah, this is
soon,
going to be
so-
really heavy third, at least in the beginning.
Media Molecule will definitely have a Morpheus game. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Sony Japan is going to show something. Maybe it's The Last Guardian. Maybe it's not.
The Last Guardian being finished by Mark Cherney, who made Knack.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
Best game.
What other teams?
Sony London.
They're probably
There's-
Morpheus.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean,
dog.
Sony Santa Monica said they wouldn't be there.
No.
Sucker Punch, I wouldn't have thought they would be there. They seem to have been expanding. I mean, they've opened up a new mocap
Yeah.
studio.
I was thinking No Man's
So-
Sky was going to be there, but the GameStop video, one of the guys said that it wasn't going to be there at E3. So
It's probably
isn't
going to be
supposed
PlayStation Experience.
But isn't it supposed to be out this year? That was what they kind of said, was that
yeah,
it's out this year and they're going to go big on it. So
Well, they have to find a reason for you want to play it, and then they'll show it off and give a release date.
but what do you do?
You just fly. Vistas. It's a Vista simulator.
Maybe we see a Japanese game or two, but more than
Level
likely they'll
5
keep that for
RPG.
TGS. Yeah, more than likely they'll keep that stuff for TGS. But
where they
Street
said that it
Fighter.
would be E3.
oh, okay.
So
They'll probably show Street Fighter. In
Yeah,
some
Street
way.
Fighter is going to be there for sure.
they're going to show the finished version of Street Fighter 4 as well.
Obviously, Uncharted is going to be there big. You know.
They're still working on that, Steve. That's maybe next E3 you'll see a finished version of Street Fighter 4.
But I think they have the potential to have a really good show, though, because we kind of don't know what their studios are working on exactly. So it'll be interesting to see some new IPs, and it'll be a good show. I think it could go on. It could drag a little with the VR possibly, and maybe Power Season 2. Who knows?
I hope they look back at the last E3 and just went, we're not going to do the letter stuff again.
Well,
None
I
of
think,
that.
I think they have more internally to show this year compared to last year, so that's why I think it'll be a little better.
It won't be
Yeah.
coming out this year, but
No,
they'll have a lot
no.
more to show.
No, their show this year is going to be all about what's coming out in 2016. I don't think we're going to see much 2015, honestly, because I don't think they have much. So
Mikey,
Well, I think
we're,
go
or
Force.
no, we have Harry Houdini in the chat. He's an insider, and he says in the grapevine that there might be another Call of Duty this year.
yes, there just may be one.
Yeah. And it might actually be on the Sony platform as a big marketing deal. That might be something. I don't know if they opened the show with that. I think they would close the show with that if they got that marketing deal.
Oh, well, like Microsoft did that one year, 2010.
I'm glad Microsoft just give up these stupid stuff like Call of Duty. Just invest the money in studios.
I think for them,
Let's
you'll
see what
see
they've
stuff like
done.
Battleborn. They'll have them. They just won't be big. Perhaps what Microsoft will do is they'll try and bet big on new stuff coming through, whereas Sony will be taking, because the new stuff will be cheaper, and Sony will be so busy trying to get COD and Assassin's Creed that, Microsoft get new stuff that ends up being big for them.
Well, that's why Microsoft's getting, Plants vs. Zombies and The Division and
Tomb Raider.
Yeah. I mean, they have big things still with third parties. They just don't have COD, it looks like. So.
And what a big loss that is. Man, oh man.
I think
Not
that's
like-
sarcasm.
It
still
is.
sells tens of millions of copies, so
Does. It's a
Yeah,
good
but-
brand to be associated with still.
Yeah, and I'm just harping on it because I'm not a huge fan of the series,
But-
but
Sony's becoming the dude bro console now, though.
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, according from what I hear, every game on Xbox this Christmas has a gun in your hands,
Yeah.
including Forza.
Shouldn't it? It's an American console.
It is starting to get old with every Xbox One exclusive is a shooter, but what are you gonna do? Or a first-person shooter. It is what it is, though.
We just need to. Microsoft just needs to give Kojima like $2 billion and just be like, just do something. Like,
Well, they
We-
used that
we
money
would
to buy Silent Hill. You sure they're gonna be able to afford it?
well, that's something completely different. This is Kojima. We're giving $2 billion to just one person.
Right,
Who's
and
not
the other
who's
2 billion
not
go.
guaranteed to come back with something. Just like, I want you to just make something.
No, I don't. I think you're
Right.
looking at it wrong. I think Microsoft actually bought Metal Gear, and they're just going to give it to Kojima.
No.
I
They
think they bought Konami.
actually bought a real Metal Gear. An actual Metal Gear.
And it's gonna show up on the stage of the conference and kill
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, they're modeling it, and they've done laser scans, and it's going to be the next Forza game. Forza 6.
And it's
confirmed.
called Metal Gear.
No, they cloned
Durango.
Phil Spencer and have an evil twin of him.
Actually, I think the Metal Gear is gonna show up at the Sony conference with Microsoft branding all over it, and it's gonna kill everyone there.
Yeah.
And it'll show up at the Nintendo Digital event, which is at the Microsoft Theater.
No, that's hilarious how that worked out.
Hey, when you own Nokia, I mean, what used to be Nokia, it's just how it rolls.
So yeah, did we talk about all the conferences? I think we did. Well, I mean, we could
We
talk
didn't
about,
talk
we
about
could talk about
the
Bethesda,
Bethesda.
Ubisoft. Yeah.
I'm betting Fallout 4
Square.
there.
All right,
No
no, let's. I want to do my third-party predictions. Okay, let's see. Ubisoft, we're going to see a CG trailer and then a real-time trailer over and over and over again for every single game, and you're going to want to rip your fucking eye sockets out.
We're gonna
every
see
time
that
you watch a
new
CG
IP
trailer.
at Ubisoft.
It's going to be boring.
Hero or something.
It's going to be an open world game. It's going to feature towers and a shitload of side missions.
Probably.
There's going to be a really tall, intimidating woman on the stage the entire time.
I said Tyler.
I like her.
She's good in Archer. I mean, I gotta give her that.
I was glad when she died in 24. That's all I'm saying. Spoilers.
Jeez, racist?
What's race got to do with anything?
Glad a black woman died.
I didn't specify anything to do with that. I just said I'm glad she died.
You implied
But
it.
you're glad that she died because her name is Tyler, and that's my first name, and you hate people named Tyler. And
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
Wait, I thought you were
hate
Barry
Aerosmith.
Allen.
You hate
That's it.
Aerosmith, don't you? Racist.
So what about Bethesda? What were you
Who
thinking
doesn't hate Aerosmith?
for real though? Besides Fallout, are we thinking a new Dishonored?
Oh no, Dishonored remastered because it didn't Brazil leak that
With
there's
Dishonored
gonna be a
2
remaster?
announcement?
No, I think that that the Brazil thing was just a remaster of the first one.
Does
But
anyone
at
have a
least
list
that.
of the other presenters at the PC conference other than Bethesda? I know it's not
Cliffy
just
B.
Bethesda. So Phil
No, he's not
Spencer's
gonna
going to
be
be
there.
Bethesda
there.
has their own conference.
Oh, I thought their conference was part of the PC conference.
No.
It's a separate
No,
conference.
that's
Oh,
Sunday
is
night.
it? Oh,
Sunday
Bethesda the
night.
publisher, not Bethesda the developer.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bethesda
technically
has their own
ZeniMax, but-
conference on Sunday night, and then the PC conference is on Tuesday night. PC Gamer.
I don't know. Hopefully it's not boring.
I think
mean,
the
other
PC
than some
Gamer will
Fallout.
be boring.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of crap at that one. But Bethesda, I mean, they have a lot of stuff they can show. You know, they got the new Doom. They'll show an extended look at Fallout, likely. We'll see possibly this Dishonored thing. Maybe they have an expansion for Elder Scrolls Online that they start showing.
I think they'll show an expansion for the second expansion for Wolfenstein. Because I think
second one?
I think
Yeah.
there's supposed to be one that's like because Old Blood was a prologue, and
Uh-huh.
then they're gonna have another one that's an epilogue to the
So
campaign.
another standalone.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah.
I would be all over that. In a
Yeah.
second. That game is fantastic.
I played that for the first time like 2 months ago, and I was like, I should have bought this a long time ago. Fantastic.
Learn from your mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Besides that, I don't know what else Bethesda would show.
They're going to show a brand new IP
Possibly.
starring
Yeah.
me. That's right. I didn't want to break
Maybe
the news
call-
too soon. Bethesda's not working for Xbox Uncut, the game.
Who
be
knows what else they're publishing?
Yeah, they could be.
They're
Something
still
could turn
just
up.
because there isn't a studio you can think of doesn't mean there isn't a studio that won't work through them.
Yeah,
Don't
Right.
they have?
it's true.
Don't they have a MOBA that they're working on?
Talk about
They
Battle
have Battle
Cry.
Cry.
I
Battlecry,
think
that's-
I think y'all are missing the megaton of E3s when we find out that Bethesda bought Crytek.
Didn't Amazon practically buy Crytek?
Well, they bought all their engine stuff for their games.
Yeah.
They're buying
Speaking
the rest
of
of the
Amazon,
corpse.
are we going to see Amazon pop
No.
up somewhere?
No.
Okay.
They're working on their
Not yet.
phone tablet strategy.
I can't wait till next E3 when we have a phone conference. No.
Oh
Yeah.
God! Slit my wrist.
Oh, and then
Amazon will kill it.
what do we see at EA? I mean, EA is going to be a big one, obviously, because we know Mass Effect's going to be there. We're probably going to
Star
see a
Wars.
Dragon Age expansion.
It's going to be everything they showed last year in Dev Diary form only this year that actually have something to
Of gameplay, yeah.
see.
Yeah.
What was that game? Was it Ubisoft
Mirror's
or EA?
Edge,
that
yeah.
game where you can do anything. You want to skydive? You want to drive a car?
That was EA.
You want
Just
to fly a
Cause?
plane? You want
That was
to?
EA.
Yeah, whatever. It's an anything simulator.
Mhm.
Have
And
we
then-
heard anything else of that?
No,
Was that Criterion?
We
it was
might
Criterion.
see.
Yeah.
I bet we might see Visceral's Star Wars game.
Possibly, yeah. That
No,
could be-
with them just wrapping up Hardline, working on DLC.
Well, how big is Visceral?
Not that big.
They're
They,
prob-
they were certainly hinting at it though. I think it's
Well, they were working on
just,
Dead. They're working
just
on
have to-
Dead Space and Army of Two at the same time, right?
Yeah, didn't they launch like the same month?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, it doesn't have to be like here's a big, huge gameplay demo because we got all this work done. You know, it'll likely just be
A
a
teaser.
trailer, visceral at the end. Everyone could be excited,
Maybe Amy Hennig comes out.
possibly.
I was fired from working on Uncharted. And then that's it. She just walks off the stage.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, Neil Druckmann comes out and pushes her off the stage.
And no, actually,
Shut
Shut up,
actually,
Lynch.
actually, Phil Spencer walks on stage with her, still drunk. Like, what are you
DirectX
talking about?
DirectX
Turn
12.
up!
Windows
I
10.
was just following this broad. I don't know what's going on around here, man. She's talking about Uncharted. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Well, they
I-
probably
look,
will use
in this
DX12 for their
fantasy,
game.
I picture Ken Lobb as Phil Spencer's wingman in his brown shirt.
Yo, Ken Lobb
Just
is
like-
his,
Just like, go for it, man. Just do it.
Dude,
Do it on the
look,
side of the
Ken,
stage.
Ken Lobb is Phil's dealer. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
Do you think he's going to go for the hobo look at E3 this year? The brown,
hope.
the brown shirt, the dirty jeans.
The official sets, the official outfit of the Xbox Uncut crew.
Yeah. Yep.
We modeled
Browns-
it after Ken Lobb.
Shirts up, pants down.
And then what's another? Oh, Square Enix. What do we think Square Enix is going to show?
I'm
Not
ready
Kingdom
for
Hearts.
Hitman 6.
A
I
for
missed
sale
you said,
sign
Steve.
on the front of the.
Another DirectX 12 demo.
What'd you say, Steve? Though.
Hitman 6.
Yeah. I had
Tomb
seen-
Raider, Next Sleeping Dogs, Deus Ex, Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 14
Well, we
expansion.
know Final Fantasy 15 won't be at E3. We
Oh,
know that for
Final
sure.
Fantasy 14 trailer.
It won't be at E3.
And they said
No, they announced it won't be.
Oh, that's what they said.
Yeah. Well,
We're gonna take them by their word.
Whoever the director of Kingdom Hearts 3 is said that we're not going to hear anything about the game until like November of this year.
They might show a remaster for PS4 and Xbox One for the first, like the remixes, you know?
I
Yeah.
think you're underlooking at this. I think we're going to see gameplay footage of that PC port of Final Fantasy VII.
There you go. It's gonna be
Maybe-
exciting.
I think they're
Maybe
going to
this would be-
open with that.
It will be the big available now thing that everybody gets hyped up about, despite the fact that there's never ever anything significant.
Please understand. Please
No,
understand.
this would be the best part of it. Is if they come out and they're like, "We heard your complaints last year," and then it's like Final Fantasy VII logo with smoke coming down, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're actually going to do it this year." And they're like, "We added VSync to the PC port of Final Fantasy VII."
We added transparring.
Yes,
You heard it was a
transferring.
very
It's coming.
Now with DirectX 12, Final
And
Fantasy
Transpar.
7.
Final Fantasy.
It looks
7 's
exactly
gonna be-
like the old Final Fantasy VII, but it's in DirectX 12.
See, the draw calls allow Cloud to
It
talk to
runs
the
really
cloud.
well on a Intel Celeron.
Yes.
It does literally nothing.
It is
Universal
all
App with
about the
Xbox One.
Pentiums, baby.
I got a Pentium D. Will it work? I'm just curious. No? Maybe? I got a Core 2 Duo. Alright.
Recommended specs. You should have played this a long time ago.
It will not work on the updated Oculus Rift 2. The specs are not right.
It's not because it can't run it. It's literally off, so it just
It
won't
is-
run.
One person is telling me it is the CPU, the other person is telling me the GPU. I don't care. It's
Please
just not going
understand.
to work.
Please understand.
Okay.
Like when they
okay.
release the game,
That's-
the cover of the game is
Yeah.
literally gonna have "Please understand" on it.
Yeah. So I think those are the only conferences. I think we got them all.
Yeah, I
covered.
think we hit them all. So we're going to do a quick... We're going to change something up this week. We're going to go into what you've been playing, but we're only going to do one game each.
Oh, okay.
Try a whole new mechanic. Try to change this up so that people aren't talking about like 20 different games.
What about
suggest
releases?
Huh.
Releases?
Releases? Do we got to auto... Who has releases? Anybody have releases?
Michael.
There's only two. Lego Jurassic World might already be out in America. Okay, well,
What's on
tomorrow's out.
Friday?
Okay, yeah, it's out on Friday, which I'm looking forward to because it's dinosaurs, less so the Lego bit. And then next week is Payday 2 for Xbox One,
Mm.
which is the sort of co-op crime game.
People have been
Left 4 Dead
complaining
Real
about
Zombies
that, right?
adding a bank,
No,
adding banks.
Something
At
wrong with?
least- Go ahead.
Oh, isn't there something wrong with Payday, like lag-wise or performance or something like
people
that on the
weren't
Xbox
happy
One
about
version?
how they people weren't happy about how they just like dropped console support entirely.
Oh, okay.
I did
So-
read that the Xbox One version isn't in a good state, but I don't know what is actually wrong with it.
Exactly,
If it's
that's what I
the
was talking
PS4
about.
version as well.
I'm just glad the DLC's in it because honestly, I don't support that company on PC. They are insane with their DLC. It's really bad. So since all the DLC's there with the console version, it's not too bad. But they are horrible with their DLC. It's like every damn week. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I guess it's like one thing in the news that I guess slipped through the cracks. It did because the game's very popular. But that second Bloodborne game, or not Bloodborne, but Blood Bowl,
Oh,
it was delayed to September, which is fine with me. To be honest, it's mid-September, so you don't have to worry about competing with like Metal Gear or anything like that. And shit, if you want to talk about Bloodborne and talk about how Dark Souls 3 was kind
that
of
leaked.
this week,
Yeah, yeah, it did.
and then officially announced more or less. So that'll probably be at Sony's conference. That or that might be they might show that Microsoft's conference.
Oh, and the latest patch
They
for
showed
The
Dark
Witcher
Souls
came
2.
out.
Hmm.
Yeah, Witcher got a big patch too a couple days ago.
They
Or
need to
yesterday, I think
increase
it
the
was.
size of the font still. I don't care what they said they did. It needs to be bigger.
It's quite a bit larger though. It looks pretty good to me. It could be a lot bigger though, I guess. And then, but the camera work has massively improved. It is smooth as can be now. It's got nice motion blur. Everything just looks great in that game now. It's time to get it, time to play it for sure.
Steve, did you hear that? You can play it now, Steve.
Okay, let me finish Batman first.
Steve,
Okay.
there's no time to wait. Fuck Batman.
Is that what you're going to talk about? Your game you played, Steve?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's difficult
Batman
because either that or
sucks.
Resident Evil Remastered. It's
Hmm.
tough.
All right, well, I'm going to talk about what I played since we just talked about it. Is The Witcher.
Mhm.
And The Witcher's fucking awesome.
Did you
And
beat it?
no, I haven't beat the game yet. I haven't been playing it nonstop. Sorry. I should have been, but I haven't. So, I ended up doing a mission that was like 8 levels higher than what I was supposed to be doing. Because I was just like, fuck it. It says it's available now. I want to do it, even though this is a level 27 mission, and I'm a level like 19. So, I ran in there balls deep, fought a griffin that was like 8 levels higher than me, and beat it. And it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. Especially
You're
when I
like, where are
went.
my balls? Oh, they're on the ground because I dropped them.
That's right. Especially when you go back and they're like, oh, you brought me these tools. These are the legendary tools, and I can make this amazing armor. And I'm like, yes, I got them. I did it. I beat the griffin. I've got it. The armor's 10 levels higher
It'd
than
be
I can wear right
it'd
now.
be
So,
funny if they're like, if only I knew how to make some.
but yeah, the armor turned out to be a lot higher level than I actually am, so I can't even wear it. So now I just have armor in my inventory waiting for me to level up. Because I can't use it. It's just sitting there, smiling at
Basically,
me.
World of Warcraft. No.
Yes. But I had a lot of fun. Like Vern said, the camera's a lot better. The font is better, but I think it could still be larger in the especially in the menus, like in the inventory, I think it's still small. It's not big at all. Like they increased the font in some places, but they didn't do it like where you really need it. Like where I had an issue with it, which is yeah, I could read what they were saying on screen, like in the yellow text that was kind of highlighted. They increased that. It's nicer now. But when you're like trying to figure out, okay, what fucking thing do I need for this recipe? Oh, let me get up and walk up to the TV because the font's still way too small. And I don't know if they can fix that because that would be a bunch of UI changes. But that's the only complaint I have still.
It depends on how they made the UI. If it's a suite of images or if it's layers, kind of depends on that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean it's amazing. But that's what I've been playing. Tim, what have you been playing?
I've been playing. I'm very close to finishing Tomb Raider.
Woohoo!
I'm really impressed with the game. I can see why. Like I said this last week, but I can see why it's definitely people go crazy over it. You know, I'm towards about like 80% done, I would say. That's been taking my time. I played a little bit of Witcher 3. And what else game did I play? I was just playing. I finished Halo 4. I had talked about that. Yeah, pretty much just Tomb Raider's been getting my my attention.
Don't
I mean,
those graphics hold up really nicely?
Yeah,
Like, it looks
just
good
everything
still.
about it. It's just a well done game. But they're using the same engine, so I'm assuming that it's going to look even better. I don't really notice the that game. If it was 60 frames per second, I could see how it would be a little bit better. If it was like a locked 60 frames, but I mean, it's definitely a good game.
It's fairly smooth though. It's pretty good.
You're not missing out compared to the PS4 version. I've played the PS4 version, and now I'm about halfway through the Xbox One version, and you're not missing out at all. On the PS4, it hits 60 frames per second because it's unlocked, but there are times when it drops down into the 30s and 40s, and it fluctuates up and down, which can be a bit of an annoyance. So
you know what I actually played last night? I actually played like an hour, and I kind of am digging it the way it is, but I've been playing Alien Isolation. Have you guys played that?
Yes.
I kind of like it. I like where it's going. I mean, it's at first, I mean, if you skip scenes, then I don't understand why you would play that game because that game is kind of like, I just don't see people skipping scenes to get to the gameplay. I think that you get more of the game if you just actually watch it and get taken in of where you are in space, and it just reminds me of. I remember I saw Aliens at the movie. It's Aliens 2, I think, or it's Aliens 2. I saw at the movie theaters with my dad, and
At the
that
cinema.
game is good. Yeah, at the VR cinema. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely get into that too. I was kind of taken back. That game didn't do well, right? Did it do well money wise?
I think it did all right.
Sega says it didn't, but it sold over 3 million copies or something like that.
It just wasn't enough for Sega.
I like Sega. I think it's pretty good. Pretty good graphics too.
All right, Michael, what have you been playing? What's your game of the week?
I have been playing Get Used to My New Depression Medication.
Okay. Is that like a subtext for Destiny?
No, I'm trying not to kill myself.
Oh, okay.
Subtext.
I'll send you messages on Xbox Live. Don't worry. I know a few people up there that'll be really cool.
Is that a AAA?
Yeah.
No, it's 10 milligrams.
It's not funny to joke about that. All right, let's move on to Jason. What have you been playing?
Now, I've been playing a few things like Forza Horizon 2, but really, a game I probably haven't played too much stuff. I need to jump back into it. I just want to bring up Borderlands 2 is pretty damn amazing on Xbox One.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it looks like the PC version. It really does.
Well, the latest patch has cleaned it up quite a lot too.
Oh, yeah. And it runs really smoothly.
Exactly, yeah.
I can't, like, if someone was like, should I play this on PC or Xbox One? Usually I'll say play it on PC. You can turn it all the way up. This, I don't even know if I'd tell you that because I've played it on PC turned all the way up. This looks pretty much like that.
Is it
Without
still
physics.
Galaxy and Darkside doing the patching?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, but it's Borderlands. It's fun. You got all the different guns. You got, a bunch of different people to play. You got the DLC unlocked from the PC version.
But the frame rate and the VSync and the frame tearing aren't issues anymore. It's in really good shape now.
Yeah, I didn't see any tearing whatsoever.
Well, before there were dips like down to like 30s, 40s right in the beginning of Borderlands 2, and all that stuff's gone too. So
I think I saw like 1 or 2 hitches, but
yeah, but it's not bad.
It's not. Yeah,
it's pretty damn smooth now.
Yeah, it's really smooth. So yeah, I can't. If you're interested in playing Borderlands, which is a great game, and Michael will tell you too, because Michael played the shit out of that game too. Pick it up. It's worth it on the Xbox One. It looks great, plays great, have fun.
Yep.
All right, well, let's move on to Barry Allen, a.k.a. Tyler, a.k.a. The Flash, or a.k.a. The Flesh. What have you been playing?
Flesh. I've been pretty much like everyone else. I've been playing Witcher 3.
Are you the reverse Flesh? I just got to know.
Mostly yellow with the red lightning bolt.
Yeah, he's a douche. Yeah, like everyone else, I've been playing.
I know that.
I've been playing Witcher 3. I picked it up late. I didn't pick it up the day it came out. So I'm doing a little bit of catch up. Really impressed with it. It's pretty much right now my favorite game of the year because it's one of the rare games that I actually get up early to play it a little bit before I go to work, and that occurrence is few and far between when it comes to games. And then besides that, I played a little bit of Fallout 3, but mainly just Witcher, and I've been really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, those two are going to be hard to play at the same time. You'll want to finish The Witcher and then move on to Fallout for sure.
Well, Fallout I was just doing for
just to check it out, yeah.
Well, for my YouTube channel. I was just playing it for that, but I got that wrapped up, and now it's just full-fledged Witcher, which is good.
Yeah, Dustin, she can do a spoiler cast.
Yes.
So is the Reverse Flash, is he AC and you're DC, or?
Let's see. He is like he would be pretty much like he is now. Like I'm primarily red with yellow highlights, and then he's the reverse of that. But he's actually the photo negative version, which would not be like primarily yellow with red highlights. I'm not exactly sure what the photo negative of red and yellow, but he's that.
This would be a fast and so from now on. Just
Yes.
All
I
right,
can
Steve.
tell you all about skin tight clothes.
Oh, okay. Actually, we're gonna have a special after the show all
Oh.
about skin tight clothing.
Oh, great! I'll turn on my camera.
Awesome. Steve will also turn on his camera. It might not look like he has clothes on, but they really are. They're that skin tight. But Steve, what else? What have you been playing?
Okay, I'm gonna go for Resident Evil because I haven't finished Batman yet. I mean,
Wait a second. I want you to explain one thing because I always laugh when I see you playing this. What difficulty are you playing on?
I put it on very easy. It gave me like 3 options. I was like, let's just go for the bottom one.
I always laugh because
know.
it's always Steve Rules playing Resident Evil, Jill, very easy, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, it shows that?
Yes, it shows it.
Exercise always been good with showing those sort of like little statistics.
Uh-huh.
Because like I remember in Grand Theft Auto 5 is a big deal when they showed, oh, this person's in a strip club, and it's like, really? Well,
Apparently GTA 5 got new strippers in the strip club. Someone figured that out
Yeah,
in the latest patch.
you have to upgrade
might
them.
rebuy that then. No, so I mean, I used to watch my brother play it when I was younger, and I was very young, and there were dark times. Wasn't too fond of the whole zombie thing when I was like 7 or something. But I mean, I picked it up, and it was really fucking good. Even on very easy, it was very good. I thought the atmosphere was still pretty great. You could see that it was I thought the way that they'd obviously redone everything on the GameCube was pretty incredible. And it's a really sort of interesting and engaging game. I'm really glad I picked it up. And I had a lot of fun with it. It took me a long time to do it, I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit concerned about resource management despite doing it on very easy. So I didn't play it very well. You'd probably laugh if you'd watched me play it. I was always running back to save spots and that sort of thing. But it's quite there's quite a lot to it. It's quite a fun game. I liked the story, but I was more of a handgun guy until I realised that if you didn't have a shotgun, you're just going to die. It sort of leaves us sort of a lot of questions sort of open, which I assume are answered in Resident Evil 2, which isn't their next game. They're doing Zero next, but no, it was really good. I had a ton of fun with it. I was really surprised how much I liked it. Really, the new I tried the old controls and they were pretty awful, but so I was alternate all the way. No tank for me.
Well, if you still have a PS3, all those games are on PS3 to download on PSN as well. So
that's a good point. I don't have a PS3 though.
okay.
I traded it, but no, I'll probably pick up Zero when it comes next year and try that. I'm a bit disappointed now actually they didn't take 2 and 3 to the GameCube because then obviously they could have remastered all of them. But it's good.
Well,
really good time.
Capcom's in the business of remasters now, so you just may get
Mega Man.
you might get your wishes.
Yeah,
Not that
I'd say-
franchise.
The thing is, I think this translated well because they'd redone it. Whereas if they just did those, I think people would be like, because I thought this looked really good. I mean, you could see that the way that they managed to, despite the fact that it was old, I thought it still looked kind of good. The sort of the fact that it wasn't 1080p, the fact that it wasn't sort of sharp new sort of game, still translated well because of the atmosphere they were trying to bring across.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of how Alan Wake was on 360, where it was like 540p or something. But because they were going for this sort of eerie atmosphere, it kind of worked. It looks like a grain rather than sort of low res stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So that was the main one I did this week.
All right. Well, I think that's going to come to the end of the show.
Hey, I didn't get my game.
Oh, what? Oh, but we already did your segment. How you doing, Vern? All right. What have you
I
been playing?
played Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, I want to hear about this.
Yeah, I mean, I played it on PC quite a bit, so it doesn't exactly feel new to me, but
What are the big
the
differences between the console and the PC version?
mainly just the UI and the controls. I mean, you're using a controller instead of mouse and keyboard. The UI is blown up a little more. You can't use add-ons, so it really does make you explore the area a little more than trying to rely on using an add-on that says, "Hey, this item's over here and this is over here." You have to check out the areas a lot more. But performance is good. It's 1080p, 30 frames per second, pretty solid.
All right,
Unless
wait,
there's
wait.
lots of
When
people.
you say good, do you mean Neverwinter good or Witcher good or like?
It's a whole lot better than Neverwinter. There is some stuttering, and it happens in cities, and it seems like it's more of a lag issue that's causing it, rather than like the CPU bogging down or something like that. Um, so maybe that'll all get ironed out as they either upgrade the servers or less people play. But there's a lot of people playing, a lot more than I expected. First off, it's a mega server. You don't have to pick a server. You just pick, American or European, and everyone just gets thrown on the same server. And it's all done through like instancing and phasing, which is really nice because everyone's just all there. You're not like splitting the population. But the performance is good, except for the stuttering. It seems like it's on like kind of medium high to high settings, so it looks pretty good. You can control the field of view, which is nice for both the first person and third person views. So you can choose your view and then hold it, and then you can immediately switch between first person and third person at any time. The controls translate very nicely to a controller. I would almost say that it's the best way to play it. You can tell that they designed this game for consoles rather than PC. The PC pretty much feels like a beta test for this version. So now's the time to play it. I mean, there's some hiccups as far as lag's concerned, but you expect that at launch. But yeah,
Like every MMO.
yeah, exactly. But it's solid. It's a good game. There's tons of stuff to do in it. It takes about 150 hours to complete the very first faction up to level 50. And it's probably going to take you another 75 to 100 hours for each additional faction, too, on top of that. So you're looking at 300 hours of solo gameplay, if you choose to get up to veteran rank 10. And then to get to 12 on top of that, there's an area called Craglorn, which is all done in groups. It requires 4-player groups to do all the missions there. So that really requires teamwork, and that's going to take you a long time to get to veteran rank 12. On top of that, there's all the veteran level dungeons. There's not raids, but they call them trials, which are similar to raids, 12 people at a time. There's a huge PvP component. There's an arena that was just released that has like a kind of an endless horde mode type thing, I believe. I'm not sure. I haven't really heard much about it. So for $60, you get your money's worth. You can play this a long time. There's no subscription fee. And if you want to pay a subscription, it's mainly just for increased experience and crowns in the store and all that.
It's the best way to play, according to the store.
My only gripe, I would say, is that the way the game sharing works. I pre-ordered it, and it shared the game, but it didn't share the Imperial Edition, and it didn't share the DLC you got for free for pre-ordering. So all of the DLC doesn't share, but the actual game shares. So just to let people out there know.
I mean, that's an okay compromise. I can see why. I mean,
but graphics look good, music's solid. It's Elder Scrolls. Go for it if you're interested.
All right. Well, I guess we had a question from the chat. They wanted to know if we would talk about Gears before the show ends. So I think a good question would be, do you think we see Gears 4 at E3?
Gameplay. Very short.
Wow.
Gameplay. They got to go big on it. What else are they going to fill the show with? Everything's been moved to Gamescom.
They'll fill it with Rod Ferguson.
Well, and
guys,
oh.
breaking news: Gears of War is not going to be at E3. He'll be at No, I'm just joking.
Oh God, I don't know what to do.
They heard us talking about it on the show and instantly went, wait, Gamescom.
Wait.
Gamescom.
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 TGS.
Don't worry. It's all...
Phil
All that's
Spencer
gonna
came
happen-
out. Oh, sorry.
all that's going to happen with Gears is Rod Ferguson's going to come on stage and he's going to be like, listen, quit whining about Shanghai. You saw a little teaser about it. You don't know anything else about the game. It's
fucking
dead.
sucked.
It's gone. Shut up about it. We're the coalition now. Deal with it. Drop the mic.
You said
set himself on
coalition?
fire.
Wait, he's gonna set himself. Do we need a list of burn centers in the
Yes.
United States?
I mean,
Nah,
I
they'll
can run
have-
over there and
They have
like,
extinguishers on the side of the stage, so they'll just blow it right.
Well,
Paramedic standing by.
Okay, here's a question. Can we get drunk Phil Spencer to control the extinguisher?
yeah. Well, he'll be trying to put him out, but he'll be
Yeah.
pouring vodka on him and
Yeah.
I'm trying to help.
And what do you? I don't understand, man.
That's
Put
fu-
water on.
I just
That's-
love how Phil Spencer on the show has become a drunk, belligerent,
Yeah.
just a host. Just like, oh, well, yeah. He's the Harry Carey of hosts.
the random showing up at an Oculus Rift conference.
To be fair, we saw about what did I think Phil Spencer said that they're going to be showing gameplay. It's not going to be like last year with teaser trailers and all that stuff. So,
Gears.
yeah, I think
Yes.
Steve's right.
Yes.
The thing is that you look at how 343 how some fans haven't taken to them, whereas fans do seem to have taken to Black
Coalition. Yeah. yeah.
And I just think that it's important that they do get out. You know, it's not going to be a long section. You're not going to be seeing some 20-minute demo. It's going to be a very short section where they just introduce this new threat. It's going to be dark. It's going to be, it's going to be like a struggle. They just setting the tone, setting the story. It'll be a short section. Someone will probably get chainsawed. Rod will come out. I actually do think he may well have a functioning chainsaw. Not like chainsaw gun. Like, it'll be plastic, but
Yeah,
No.
possibility.
You know what? That's an interesting thing. So, do we talk about what we think might be the special effects of the Xbox conference? Because I'm wondering how they're going to one up the Turn 10 stuff.
I think it's going to
Well,
be
we'll have
fog.
Ford GT on the stage.
It's going to
Yeah,
be
but-
fog and green lights, and
Are there going to be pyrotechnics and
they're going to airdrop a Ford GT in because they've
Drunk
already
Phil
come through
Spencer.
the front. And
Phil
bottom of
Spencer
the
is going to
stage.
fly in.
No. Phil Spencer's going to be in the Ford GT flying it.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I don't know what's going on. I was just backstage and I was in this car, man.
The doors will be open like it's flying with the doors.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Is this mine? Do I keep this? No.
Good question. Locust or a different monster? What do we think?
I
Kind
honestly,
of has to be
I'm
Locust.
stumped on this.
I want
The
Locust back.
I think
Covenant.
Locust show back up.
It's like you can't have Halo without the Covenant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
But
not Halo.
maybe they don't start up in the beginning of the game. Maybe the Locusts
Right.
come back halfway through the game. Huh?
Maybe
Yeah,
it's
I think that's a
maybe
good-
the
It all
game.
depends
good
on when the
idea.
game is set.
Yeah, maybe
All
the
depends
game
when
is
the game
set
is
in the
set.
Civil War, something like that.
If
No,
it's set during the Pendulum Wars, then it will be humans.
Yeah.
I really do not think. I think it's just going to be a direct sequel to Gears 3.
They've already confirmed that, right?
That's literally impossible.
But
them
yeah,
to do.
you can't have it be a sequel.
All of
to
the
3.
locusts are dead at the end of Gears 3. All of them.
Unless
I'm sure they'll come up with-
No. I got an idea.
Unless the
They're-
queen
they're-
screwed a locust and it came out with
The
a
queen
locust.
dies at the end of Gears 3 because
Hey,
her.
listen! Don't let me finish. She had a prince half-breed locust human thing, and
His
that
name was Phil Spencer.
Yes.
He was drunk and he came out on stage.
and he
and be
started
like,
Yeah.
yelling at
"Marcus
people.
Phoenix."
Hey,
I
Mark,
want my baby back.
I want my baby back, baby.
and the human was
I
Phil
love The
Spencer.
Office.
I think without monsters, if Gears just became a person-to-person shooter, it would be really boring
What
and
about-
not Gears. You have to have a 60-foot tall, giant, 20-eyed, fucking huge worm/thing. It has to be there. It's the staples of what Gears is.
Wow.
What if it's Locust from space?
Locust from space
Well,
could work. They could
like
be
The
called.
series has never established that
Locust
space travel
fiber.
exists in the universe.
But they also
It
haven't
does
established that
now.
it doesn't. The thing is, right, the way that I could see them perhaps trying to do it is that you have because the fact that they named the planet, but there was never. I mean, Rod always talked about how they didn't expand on the backstory. So it could be that actually there's a group of planets, but when this locust stuff happened, they all got cut off because everything's gone to shit. So it could, I don't know, perhaps they'll try a different planet or something. So you've got that same locust threat. They're all fueled by emotion. I don't really see them doing a different cast, different people, but Rod said that they already had a plan for this, so I don't think that's such a terrible idea. You just show someone else, but I don't see.
What
them
about
doing
this?
It.
What if it's the plot to Terminator, but in Gears of War?
No.
No.
They already did it anyway. You sneak into a Locust Sanctum dressed as Locust.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey,
But did they go
Christian.
back in time and bring more locusts?
Okay. Serious question though. Do we start in a jail again?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we start in prison jail again?
Yes.
Yeah.
You started Asphalt Fields. You
What
witnessed.
do we keep doing to be in jail every time?
Bad shit, man.
Well, they
Bad
already
shit.
covered Asphalt Fields in the books, and
They did, but they do it again because people have never actually played that.
I just think you have to have monsters in Gears of War. It's a staple of Gears. You have to have a monster.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a locust.
Humanity is the worst monster.
No
Wow,
one
that's
gives a shit about
very
humanity.
blah, whatever.
Is that
Like,
what
I don't
people
care.
Want from Gears, they want to fight.
No.
I want to
wanna
fight
f-
other humans in Gears.
I want to
Yeah.
fight a 20-foot tall monster
got
that's
it,
surrounded
I got
by
it,
other
I
monsters
got
that are
Gears
just
of
rushing
War.
in.
I got it. Gears of War, Gamergate.
Yes, you're going to shoot
Yes,
games
please keep
journalists.
eating that dead horse.
It's going to be all about games journalism. And
The
you're going to shoot
monster
games
is actually
journalists.
Gamergate.
It's a 50-foot
I'm not
tall
gonna even
beast.
touch it, but I can say something right there.
All
I
right.
can see the disappointment in Michael's face that we're doing this. I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, my depression medication is certainly going to help with this shit.
Yep. So, let's move on to the end of the show, which is going to be me just saying, Michael, good luck with the depression medicine. Please thank... Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I got a show title name.
You got a show title name?
Yeah, Phil Spencer wins E3.
Phil Spencer wins E3. I think we
Yeah.
should wait
That
till
sounds
next week.
Drunk Phil
horrible.
Spencer.
Drunk Phil
Drunk Phil
Spencer.
Spencer wins E3
No, I like half,
Belligerent
half
Phil
locust,
Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
in a brown shirt.
Half
Wait,
locust Phil Spencer.
Wait. What's going on here?
Half-breeds win E3. All right, well,
Phil,
I
Phil,
want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please
Phil
subscribe.
Spencer's Locust Babies.
Please follow us.
That's true, man. They're
good.
not
I
mine.
like that one.
Sorry,
Everybody-
you can continue.
I'm
I'll
trying
shut
to
up.
do this. I'm trying.
Please shut up.
Please subscribe. Please follow. Please write us at letters@xboxuncut.com to give Vern some letters, because he had nothing to read this week. The chat room made up for it, but we need letters, and we need them now. And with E3 being next week, I want to hear your predictions, and then we can tell you how wrong you were after you wrote into us this week. So write us, letters@xboxuncut.com. Follow us on the Twitters. Follow us on the Facebooks, on the YouTubes, and all the different...
On the Oculus Rifts is.
Yeah, the Oculus Rift scissors. We're going to have a 3D app for Xbox Uncut where you can watch how all these things come together to form this crazy-ass, whatever we're calling it, podcast. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Peace out, everybody.
MySpace.
Yeah.
Later.
Goodbye.
Yeah.